Welcome in. It's Taco Tuesday, live from Social Taco. Landry Roberts and Pat Smith. Conrad Van Order anchoring things there at the studio of Jocks 94.5. Molly Robinson as well. It is a overcast, rainy. We needed the rain, I guess. April showers brings May flowers, Pat. But hopefully the sun will return at some point. I really need it.
I think probably later this week you'll have your opportunity to see it again.
All right. Well, there's our little weather blurb for the day. How about last night? Do you want to start off there?
Yeah, I called 2 games. I think I was perfect on the field umpiring. Didn't miss a call. Didn't have to go to New York for a review. It was fantastic. It was beautiful. Something else happened overnight that I'm aware of?
Well, to be honest, I missed all the fireworks in the 8th and the 9th inning because I got so perturbed I turned it off and started watching a documentary on hidden secrets of the Vatican. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
We might need to talk about that.
Oh, yeah. It was interesting, but then I looked on my phone and I was like, oh, wow.
This is getting interesting.
No,
I was able to get home, and I think Conrad's got this queued up. In case you missed it last night on Jocks 94.5, the Atlanta Braves and the Cardinals, it was pretty much a okay game up until about the 8th and 9th inning, and then it got really interesting on both sides of it. Here's some highlights from last night's Braves Radio Network broadcast of the Cardinals and the Bravos.
Here it is from Fetty, and that's a towering fly ball to deep left field, and he has another home run against the Redbirds. That ties the game. It's a 2-2 game with a home run by Riley. First pitch to Olsen, and a ground ball right side, finds a hole, a base hit into right. Riley rounds the bag, comes to the plate, and the game is tied. Eli White first to third, and Matt Olsen able to strike one through the right side, knots us up at 3 apiece. Bases loaded, 1 out. First pitch. Swung on, hit in the air to right field, coming along Scott. He is under it. He's got it. Here comes White to the plate. The throw out of right field, not in time. And the Braves take the lead on a sac fly from Michael Harris. 4-3 Braves in the 8th. Now first and second, 2 down for Sean Murphy. Murphy swings at the first pitch, blasted deep to left, hit a megaton, a 3-run home run. And the Braves take a commanding 7-3 lead in the 8th. This play's going crazy. A right-on-right matchup. First pitch to Arenado, and that is going to hit the bat, picked up by Murphy right in front of the plate, and that's the game.
Oh, my goodness.
A sudden victory for the Braves. Unbelievable. I mean, barely a check swing tapper right in front of the plate, the last thing that Arenado expected to do. And Murphy picked it up, put the tag on him, and the game ends right there. And the Braves hold on and win it 7-6.
So the Braves win at 7-6. Sean Murphy, you just heard that on the call for the Braves Radio Network on Jocks. He had a 3-run homer in the 8th inning. They scored 5 runs in the 8th inning against the Cardinal bullpen. Austin Riley also hit a 2-run homer for Atlanta. Michael Harris, the second, added 2 hits and drove in a run. So the Braves now have won 4 in a row. St. Louis lost its 5th consecutive game. They lost 4 in New York and now the first one in Atlanta. They dropped to 1-10 on the road. So it's interesting today because it is going to be a bullpen game for the Braves because Spencer Strider apparently cannot throw off the mound without hurting his hamstring, which took place yesterday, which is bizarre. So Andre Palante, who started the Rickwood game last year for the Cardinals against the Giants, he's 2-1 with a 3.22 ERA. He goes up against the Braves bullpen tonight. Not really sure who the first person out of the bullpen will be. Strider was placed on the 15-day DL with hamstring soreness.
I don't know if you go Montero, potentially, maybe some Dylan Lee. You pepper in a little bit of, I don't know. I'm trying to think of all the guys that they have out there in the pen. But, yeah, this should be interesting. And you guys have, Michaelis going tomorrow? Is that correct? Is that scheduled pitcher?
Sure.
Taking on Bryce Elder.
No, I think that is his turn. Michaelis actually threw well against the Mets. He has been an absolute arsonist. And when I say arsonist, it's like go ahead and just throw as much fire on it as possible. He has got one of the worst ERAs over the last 3 seasons. Like he literally is a healthy individual that can take the ball every 5 days. I mean, that's basically what his his career has now turned into. Cardinals gave him an extension a couple years ago, and it's just been a disaster. So, yeah, if you say he's pitching,
okay,
there you go.
All right. Well, we get another one tonight. It's a 3-game series. But you were predicting you predicted yesterday the sweep, right? You think that you guys get swept? Was that right?
We might get one.
Okay.
And I think if it's the one, it might be tonight because Palante has thrown really well. He's been better than Sonny Gray that we're paying a lot of money to. So yeah. But this is and we said it before. I know you were at the beach, but we said it last week talking to Barrett Sallee on Friday. And for the Braves, the way that schedule worked out, and Conrad, the way that the Atlanta Braves play at home is completely different than the way they play on the road. And it's the same as the Cardinals. Cardinals playing really good baseball at Busch Stadium and not so much on the road. But we told Barrett last week, said, hey, this is setting up for a pretty good homestand with the Twins and the Cardinals coming in.
Yeah, no, it's certainly worked out for him now. And, I mean, you look at that home record, and like you said, it's just a complete juxtaposition to what you've gotten on the road. But, and we've talked about it a lot, right? You had some tough road series to start off the year, but hopefully this is the corner that needed to be turned. And it's just a little bump in the road for Strider. And we're talking about a Braves team, maybe a month from now that's, back in the thick of things in the NL East, and they're fully healthy. And, Landrum's happy every day because it just makes me so sad. The last couple of weeks when Landrum was just in a bad mood, and it just, it brought everybody down. So
I try not to let it wear off on you guys. But
I know. And it's not your fault.
I wear my emotions on my sleeve.
It is. Wouldn't expect anything less, my friend.
Yep.
So the transfer portal, a little bit of news just happening just a few moments ago. Let's start on the basketball front. Conrad was trying to tell us, as Landrum and I, as we were getting everything set up here at Social Taco. Do I understand that Alabama basketball is potentially, it's down to Duke and Alabama for a big transfer portal ad? Is that correct?
That is correct, Pat. So we've talked about Cedric Coward a little bit. He is the transfer from Washington State, averaged about 17, 18 points a game last year there for the Cougars, and he is now going to potentially head to Tuscaloosa. He has narrowed it down. It is 2 teams left doing the bidding for his services, and it's Alabama and Duke. So maybe that doesn't make you feel as good if you're an Alabama fan, but even the odds, right? They beat Alabama, knocked them out of the NCAA tournament, so hopefully Alabama can get this win over Duke out of the transfer portal because he is one of the very best that is in there right now.
Okay. Well, that would be big for Alabama. Meanwhile, UAB, they have just added a former top 40 overall recruit who began his career at Auburn. Syracuse forward transfer Chance Westry has signed with UAB. So that's a big get for Andy Kennedy, and I'm not even going to butcher this young man's name, but they also signed a Brazilian center who comes in at 6'10". He averaged 6.1 points, 6.5 rebounds, and he shot 54% from the field at Indian Hills, which is a junior college there in Iowa. He started his career at Utah Valley.
Okay.
And would you like to try to pronounce his name? He's a Brazilian.
I'm going to say Joe.
You're going to go Joe? You saw what Andy Kennedy called him.
What did he say?
JV.
I'm going to go with AK. JV. Is it Shega?
I don't know. I'm sending this to I'm going to send this to Molly and Conrad, and I would be very interested to.
If I type that in, is there something on my phone that will translate that?
Maybe. Perhaps. Did you get the text? I would like you guys to try to pronounce his name.
Okay.
It's all quiet on that end.
No, I know. I just like the fact that you have the graphic from UAB and it just says JV because they didn't even spell it out in the graphic.
Right, give it to me again.
Joao
da Chagas?
No. Is it Joao?
Joe. What is the?
You're not even trying, Conrad.
What is the wavy A?
Be quiet. Let's let Molly. Molly will probably get this.
No, what that does for the pronunciation.
I'm gonna guess Joao.
Yes. See, I like the way she pronounced it. How about the rest of his name?
Das Chagas? I don't know.
Shega.
Shega?
Shaga sounds cooler.
It's in there.
Let's see what it is. Andy Kennedy said on the release, JV.
I
That's what
like
he called it.
JV.
But where's the V come from?
Yeah, see, that's what I was getting confused about. Is that just his nickname? JV? Like, has that been his name for a while or something?
I don't know.
So many questions.
So many. But UAB has done some nice portal work last couple of days. It's been kind of quiet, but Chance Westry,
6'6" point guard. He could shoot. Well, he came out as a point guard. What does it say there?
he's 6'10" center.
Oh, 6'10" center now.
So I guess he grew 4 inches.
Oh, that happens.
Kind of like Jalen Milroe's hand. So, yeah. So good for UAB. I was reading some of the stuff that some of the Auburn beat writers was saying about Chance Westry. I don't remember him at Auburn, but you said you remember him.
I remember him being part of a class. I don't remember him playing at Auburn.
Okay. So he was at Syracuse, and so now he is coming back to the wonderful state of Alabama, where he will play for the Blazers. Nice pickup for UAB.
Yeah, he definitely. You see that.
There he is.
He grew.
Yeah. 6'6", right?
He was 6'6", 190, and listed as a shooting guard. But he can handle the basketball, so it's 6'10". Look, we're not going to be able to pronounce some of these names that Andy got out of the portal, but
I feel pretty confident with Westry.
As far as their resumes and just coming in with their stats, it looks like he has loaded up that roster. Probably still doing some work.
Yeah, Andy Kennedy says, excited to have JV join our program. He is a big physical post player who gives us a post presence from day one. JV is a great guy who has sacrificed a lot along his basketball journey to arrive at this stage. So, there you go.
Love it. You need to start practicing that name for your green and gold reports.
I just like that, now we're getting it on the basketball front because we've had the Tungavailoas, the Iamaleavas, the Uman Mielans in football, and now it's time for basketball. We got a name to learn. It's fun.
So apparently, Molly, it looks like Chapel Bill is going to be heading to the Irish Isles. Is that correct?
Chapel Bill and Jordan, they're going to be headed abroad because they get the opportunity to play in the College Football Classic over there in Dublin. It'll be UNC and TCU in 2026.
2026. And now this year's game, they're playing that in Chapel Hill, or is that playing in Fort Worth? Because that's the opening weekend this year. I can't remember where that game is. But in 2026, the game will officially kick off the 2026 season there in Dublin. I just wonder if Taylor Swift will be there, shaking it off.
I hope our Gaelic guy's there.
I was about to say, that's the important one.
Yeah, that's the guy that I want calling that game.
Are we also jumping the gun and assuming that Chapel Bill's going to be there next year?
Or that they will be him and his girlfriend, who's the CEO of Bill Belichick Productions.
See, what happens if that relationship goes south? Does the whole program crumble? Like,
you mean the football program or the Bill Belichick Productions?
Both.
Now, how awkward would that be?
That would be something.
So I don't see Bill at this point in his life, and this is just 30,000 foot. I don't see him getting rid of her. I don't see him pulling the offer if we're going to go football terms. I think it would be Jordan getting into the portal and maybe deciding that the 50-year age gap was starting to wear on her a little bit. She doesn't like 3:30 in the afternoon dinners. Yeah.
At the Piccadilly.
Melatonin at 8 p.m. is not her thing.
What time do you think Bill goes to bed?
Bill he's wired like Saban. He probably doesn't sleep.
I would bet he runs on 4 hours of sleep a day.
Yeah, probably so.
And he's probably been doing that for about 50 years.
What time do you think she wakes up about 3?
In the afternoon?
I like to think she wakes up at like 11 a.m. every day.
goes and gets her iced latte. Running around Chapel Hill in her yoga pants. Maybe go get some Pilates done.
Possibly.
Then drop by the facility.
Just to be
check
a
on people
fly
and
on
what
the
they're
wall
not doing right.
And hear some of the things some of the things those players have said about, like, all right, come on, what's going on with this situation? Like, I would just love to know some of their thoughts on the dynamic.
Does she have a blog that she that she puts out there every day?
Well, she's pretty active on the old Instagram.
Oh,
The
Young
other big,
love.
yeah.
Young love.
Did you guys see her lobster dinner?
With the
No.
strawberries?
Yeah.
That was very creative.
Yeah, Bill did not look super enthused by that meal, but she's watching out for his health. She wants him to live a long time.
I was just excited about what Bill had on top of his cake.
But I didn't see it. So
Molly, you saw it.
I did.
What was on top of the cake?
It was just a saying.
I
Instead of
can't
a-
repeat it.
Yeah, we can't repeat it for on air, but it was
okay.
It was a colorful use of language. It was not a number on top of his cake. It
No.
was basically a little saying about how he felt about his birthday.
Who cares?
Yeah, except a little bit.
oh, I got you.
Who gives a
Okay, who gives a rip?
yeah? Except it wasn't Rip.
Whatever could it have been?
Well, there's a lot of ways that you could end that. So if we're gonna go expletive, did it? I've got to know now. Did it start with an S, an F?
Yes.
Okay. Huh. Guess that's a little classier than the F.
It is.
A little classier.
Other big story this morning is that the President of the United States has proclaimed that he is going to make 2 commencement addresses this spring, and one of them will be at West Point. The other will be in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
I think it's awesome if you're graduating. Well, I think it's awesome if you're graduating and the President of the United States is giving your commencement. Now, the flip side of that is if you have agreed to go and watch your family member, your child, your daughter,
Bless
your
your heart.
granddaughter walk on that particular day. Graduations are already really, really long. That one, whoo, get ready.
I was about to say, we remember what it was like at the Georgia game, right? When he was
Yeah.
down there and hearing people talk about how difficult it was, how much traffic was backed up and all that. Yeah, get ready for that. And it's going to be hot.
You need to stop by your local Piggly Wiggly and load up on some Mystic Beverage. Load up. You're going to need them all. You're going to need the High Hills Delta 9, the Nirvanic. You're going to need the Lift with a green coffee bean extract, all of that good stuff. And it's made in Blount County, Alabama. It's sparkling water. It's infused with cannabinoids. And whatever vibe you're trying to achieve, it can elevate that vibe. It's Mystic Beverage, mysticbeverage.com. Find it at your local Piggly Wiggly. We appreciate Mystic Beverage. I just found an opportunity, and I took it.
You did, and you did an outstanding job. We're live at Social Taco. The doors open up at 11 o'clock. Come on by and see us. We're up here on the Taco Terrace. Molly will be by a little bit later to join us here for the fun and frivolity.
And those watching us on Jocks TV right now, we had a commissioned restart where the update had to happen.
That always happens on these Windows computers.
Yeah. So we will be back up and running shortly for all of our friends. And I say it, the Wheel of Death continues. We'll get it figured out.
Okay, hope so.
All right.
When we come back on Three-Man Front, we will, by the way, Mike Griffith, who typically joins the show at 10:05 every Tuesday, he is actually on a DogNation.com cruise. So they're doing that for the readers of DogNation.com and the AJC. So they're on a cruise somewhere in the Caribbean. So he'll be back with us next Tuesday. Bottom of the hour, Charlie Potter from Bama Online. Talk a little Jalen Milroe and the rest of the Alabama possible draftees for Thursday night. Later on the show, we're going to go down to Louisiana, find out what's going on with Brian Kelly and his LSU Bengal Tigers, as Sean Fox, one of our favorites, will join the program in the 12 noon hour. So got a lot going on today. You can join us here on site. You can give us a call at 1-800-239-WJOX. This is Jocks 94.5's Three-Man Front. It is 10:23, Jocks 94.5. We're live at Social Taco. The doors will open up at 11 o'clock. You need to stop by and experience the brand new menu. The menu was outstanding before, about 2 weeks ago. Taylor joined us up here before the show and shared all the exciting news, and seeing a lot of our listeners get an opportunity to come here and enjoy this brand new menu. It's outstanding. So come on by and see us. We'll be here until 2 o'clock here on Jocks 94.5.
Well, spring weather in Alabama can be really unpredictable, so that's why you need the reliability of a Trane, voted America's most trusted HVAC brand. And right now you can receive up to a 10-year warranty on parts and labor on select Trane home comfort systems. So to find out more, go and visit Trane.com.
So a big story coming up is the NFL Draft. Reminder, Molly and I will be at Trim Tab on Thursday night beginning at 6 o'clock. The draft actually starts at 7 o'clock. And one of the conversations we're going to have coming up at the bottom of the hour with Charlie Potter is going to be the situation with Jalen Milroe. Where is he going to fall? Well, I want to take you back. Do you remember the Reese's Senior Bowl? You remember when they were doing all the measurables for the players and his hands? Remember that became a big story?
Yeah.
Then he ends up at the Combine there in Indianapolis, and his hands grew. Don't know what, maybe he took a long bath or something. Maybe his hands shriveled up down in Mobile or whatever, and then he gets to Indianapolis, and his fingers, his hands are a lot bigger than what it was in Mobile. Kind of odd. But this morning, Kay Adams, who does an outstanding podcast there on the FanDuel Network, she had Jalen Milroe on the show. Take a listen to this conversation.
What happened? When are we gonna get? When are you gonna be honest with me about this whole hand size thing? What happened? Is it after you're drafted? When are we gonna get to the bottom of that riddle?
Look, despite if it was 6'9", it don't matter. I can throw the ball regardless. This hand size thing it don't matter. But all of it was wrong. I get to the combine and I measure my hand, and everybody. So I did my first measurement. It's really it labeled at a 10 initially.
Oh.
So dude, so the guy that was measuring my hand looked at me, looked back at him, and he pulled his partner to him. Started measuring his hand, so I did it again. It was 10 again. So then he no, something wrong. So I had to lean on the thing, and he's pulling my fingers, stuff like that. And they still they're measuring it at an accurate. Now it's 9 or whatever. And so of course it's definitely way higher than what it was when it first came out there. So, I mean,
here's what I have. It was 8 1/3 at Senior Bowl, and then all of a sudden it was 9 3/8.
First off, it's funny how this world is, because initially, it happened at the Senior Bowl. And so of course, fellow, teammates and people at the, Reese Bowl. I'm not on social media like that. I'm really not. So they come to me and say, "Hey, did you see what they put out there?" I'm like, "What, bro?" You know what I'm saying? And they mentioned that to me. All I said was, "Oh, okay." I didn't have an opinion, because ideally, even if my hand was 8, regardless, I still got to throw the football.
People love talking about the little centimeters and little conversations.
That was Kay Adams.
Is there any more that we can hear from that? I'm not sure where that was going, but I want to hear more.
My question is, are Jalen Milroe and Kenny Pickett in a group text together? Do they have a support group? Did Kenny Pickett reach out to Jalen and give him some words of confidence? That's what I'm wondering.
What was the measurement of his hands? What was the lowest measurement you got?
In Mobile, it was, I think she said 8 3/4.
Okay. I just measured mine, and you go.
Your hand.
Yes. Yes. And my left hand just measured 8.5.
Okay. So your hand is smaller than Jalen Milroe's hand in Mobile.
I would hope so.
Maybe because you spent all that time at the beach this weekend?
Yep.
Maybe it's the water.
It's the salt.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get in the water.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
It was in the air.
Actually,
I thought you got in the jacuzzi.
No, I know. I didn't get in the pool. I didn't get in the jacuzzi. I got in the shower every day. But I went down on the final day just so I could say that I was in the Gulf, and
just
I
stuck your toe in it.
stood there for 10 seconds, then I walked back. So
the good news is for Jalen Milroe, even if what it was measured at the Senior Bowl, if that is accurate, it's still bigger than Kenny Pickett's hands were coming out of college. So he has that.
Do you remember what Kenny's were?
8.5.
Okay. So I think she said 8 3/4, right?
Yeah. So they're still bigger than Kenny's.
Well, then you heard Jalen Milroe mention something about his hand somewhere was measured at like 10 inches.
Pat, yours is 8.5.
8.5?
Yeah.
So about yours about the same?
Yep.
Here, hold my hand. See if our hands are.
Well, that's like when we would run the 40-yard dash in high
Lock
school,
fingers.
and we had our, the ant bed punching coach that would time our 40-yard dashes. I ran like a 4.4 in high school. There's no way I ran below a 5.
Wait,
second
you ran a
rate.
4?
Wait, can we
Wait,
stop
time
it
out,
right
time
there?
out.
Conrad Van
Time
Order,
out.
you ran a 4.4?
No, that's what I'm saying. I didn't run a 4.4, but we had our coach that would go out there with the stopwatch and do it himself, and we were all lightning fast according to him, and it's, it made you feel good, but the reality is, my 4.4 is probably more like a 4.9 or a 5.
Hey, we didn't have that coach at Homewood, Conrad. No, not at all.
Can you document that for me, Coach? That'll do wonders for me in college.
Yeah.
Conrad would not be in radio right now.
Well,
Conrad would still be playing somewhere.
we always have these discussions. Remember Kyler Murray when he grew?
Yeah.
When he grew.
Yep. And that worked out well, at least for his financials.
And for his video game playing ability.
Exactly.
I did forget this, though, because someone did point out that apparently Michael Vick, when he came out of college, his hand was measured at 8.5 as well. Worked out pretty well for him.
See, and you.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah, no problem at all. Well, we had a lot of rain last night. We're going to get more rain this afternoon. Water can find its way into your crawl space of your house, bringing that dangerous mold, mildew, and wood rot potentially into your home. But APS, they can help protect your home's foundation and provide valuable storage space as well. The APS crawl space encapsulation system can stop water, keep pests out, while lowering your energy costs all at the same time. The engineers at APS, they can come to your house and they can design a custom solution for your home. Crawl space problems will not get better over time. They're going to get better when you call APS at 205-951-9717. Start protecting your home today with APS, established in 1977 to solve the most challenging issues around your home. The number again, 205-951-9717, or visit their website at alabamaprofessional.com. When we come back on Three Man Front, Charlie Potter will join us from Bama Online. We'll talk about Jalen Milroe's hand size and where's Jihad Campbell and some other Alabama's players will be heading to the draft and what round they're going to go in. That's next on Three Man Front. It is 10:34, Jocks 94.5. Welcome back. We're at Social Taco. Man, some of the riffraff that's already come through the doors here at Social Taco.
If you come into the Taco Terrace, we will measure your hand today.
How about that? We've already got a great listener. Larry from Homewood just came up here, and he immediately stuck his hand out. It was his hand, and he was trying to see if his hand was bigger than Landrum's.
Thank you for clarifying.
You never know with Larry. Anyway, welcome back to the program. Joining us now on the Higginbotham Hotline is Charlie Potter from Bama Online. Charlie, all this debate on Jalen Milroe, it's not, okay, is he going to be a first rounder or a second rounder? All of a sudden now we're talking about his hand size again. What is his hand size? Do you know that for a fact?
I don't have it right in front of me. I do know that was one of the weirder stories.
Yeah.
It was like the Senior Bowl. It was his hand and was it Dylan Gabriel's height were the big differences from down in Mobile and up in Indianapolis. And yeah, I mean with Jalen, I think looking at what the NFL did up in Indy, I think it's 9 3/8 if I remember correctly.
Correct.
And
that's
more of the normal. That's not going to jump off the page to anybody. It's not going to open any eyes or raise any eyebrows. But what it came in Mobile, that was what was shocking because that's what's going to make up stories. I mean, we still talk about a guy like Kenny Pickett with his hand size. So I think with Jalen and already him kind of being a guy that there's tremendous upside, but you have to kind of get it out of him to begin with. I think having something else is something he doesn't want, and now I guess it isn't an issue. I'm sure teams have questions, but I mean, the guys in Indianapolis, they've been doing that for a long time, and if that's what they say, then I guess that's what you go with.
Based on what, the scouts and the people who are evaluating him and deciding if he's worthy of being an early first round, mid first round, late first round, or beyond, what are the positives? I know that you said upside, but with Jalen Milroe, what do they really like about his skill set?
Yeah, I mean, Jalen said it whenever we were talking to him after his pro day workout. He can do most everything, if not everything, that all the other quarterbacks can do, but they can't do what he can do. He has the running ability sets him apart. I mean, it's undeniable. It's probably not fair. It's kind of like whenever you compare a freshman DB or a freshman receiver to Minkah Fitzpatrick or Jalen Waddle. It's not fair, but everybody throws around Lamar Jackson because that's the comp in terms of his running ability. I think Daniel Jeremiah said it the best the other day that that's what he compares to from a running standpoint. But Lamar Jackson's far ahead and a better passer and has improved over the course of his career, and that's what you want to see from Jalen Milroe. It's like I think he called it a lottery ticket. That's what teams are kind of viewing it as in. You go and maybe you get your first round pick, the guy that you need to get, but in the second round you take a swing for the fences because if Jalen Milroe hits, he hits in a big way and he can pay dividends. It's just a situation where he still has some room to grow, still has improvement to make, but if you can get that running ability and improve him as a passer, I mean the sky's the limit.
In regards to these former drafts that you've seen with all these different Alabama players throughout time, is Jalen Milroe the one that's got the biggest ceiling in your opinion? Like you just mentioned, the lottery ticket that Daniel Jeremiah mentioned from the NFL Network, because depending on what mock draft you're seeing, he could either be a late first-round pick, he could be a third- or fourth-round pick. Where do you see this in regards to the ceiling for Milroe?
Yeah, I mean, quarterback is so strange because teams do crazy things for quarterbacks. Because, I mean, you look at the end of the first, we see teams move up all the time to maybe take a guy. Maybe they have a higher pick and they get the guy they want, and then there's a quarterback still sitting there that they feel good about. And then, I mean, there's teams like the Steelers that have been linked to him. I know that was obviously something when he had his pro day, a team that he was talking to and had dinner with. And I think, they had dinner with a lot of guys, but it's notable that, that's a team that could probably use a quarterback and not one that necessarily needs one right away. And I think that's the key for Jalen is to go to a team that maybe has a starter, has a great offensive coach, and he can learn a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, it's the ceiling is for him in terms of just a draft pick. I could see him maybe sneaking into the end of the first round just because, like I said, teams do a lot of strange things when it comes to this quarterback position. But I could also see him, having to maybe sit a little bit. I think he could probably. I'd imagine him going in the second round. I think he could go third, but it's just that quarterback position and what teams do to get those that could change. But I think Jalen, it's hard to predict the ceiling on the field because I think he has a lot of work to do. But I think going to the right system, I think for him, I know he wants to go as quickly as he can because obviously there's more money there and you don't have to sit in the green room and have cameras in your face all weekend. But I think it's situation and fit for him, and I think that's what we'll be interested to see what happens come next weekend.
Talking to Charlie Potter, senior team writer, Bama Online, part of On3 Sports. He joins us, as all of our guests do, on the Higginbotham Hotline. I know the original plan was for him to be in attendance there in Green Bay. What have you heard? Is Jalen Milroe and his camp still planning on attending?
I think that's still the case. The NFL announced that. I mean, that was obviously one that came out before the full list, and the list isn't long. I think it's like 17 guys. I think more and more these guys just want to, be around their family or, they get deals and stuff where they can go and do things. But I haven't seen where it's changed. I know Jahad Campbell's going to be there. I know Tyler Booker's going to be there. Heck, I know Ty Simpson's going to be there. I think he's really close buddies with Tyler Booker and got invited and is there to support all his teammates. But I think right now the plan is still for Jalen Milroe to be there, and it'll be interesting to see how long he has to wait because, again, you look at those mock drafts, it could be, into the night, into the day 2 of this draft. We'll have to see.
All right, Charlie, so let's talk about some other players besides Jalen Milroe. Most people believe Jahad Campbell is going to be the first Alabama player taken in the first round of the draft. Do you believe that's the case, or do you think Tyler Booker might edge up depending on what teams' needs are?
I feel like Jahad will be the first one off the board. He had a great combine. Tyler Booker, not so much. I know he improved what he was able to do or show in Indianapolis at his pro day, and he's still, I think, the top interior offensive lineman in this draft. I think he's one of the best offensive linemen in this draft, in my opinion, just because of what he's been able to do on the field and then from a leadership standpoint. But Jahad Campbell is one of those physical freaks. I remember when he changed his number to 11, someone asked him just why 11, and he said it's freakier. And that's what he wants to be on the field. And he's a guy that he looks the part. He ran fast, measured well, jumped high. He did everything he needed to do. I know we saw him in a sling at pro day. He was out of that sling at 8A because he was back in Tuscaloosa. So it seems like his off-season surgery and recovery is going well, and that's always something teams want to know. But, yeah, I think Jahad Campbell's going to be the first guy off the board. He might be the only guy off the board in day 1 because interior linemen, we'll have to see how that goes. I think Booker is a first-round pick, but we'll have to see how the board falls and how everything goes. But I think Jahad Campbell will be the first guy off the board, and it'll be interesting to see where he goes because I think there's a lot of teams that could use him, but there's some really good teams in the back half that could scoop him up and go that far.
Charlie, I'm interested in 2 local products. Kai Moore there from Hewitt Trussville, Q Robinson out of Jackson Olin. I know that those guys are scheduled to be late draftees, but what are you hearing, and which one of those guys could surprise and move up the board?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, rooting for both of those guys because sticking it out of Alabama, and then they've always been great with their time with us, just coming up to reporters and stuff like that. I remember even when Q got hurt, he'd pop his head into the media room there at Mount Moore, and just say hello. So, like, just from being around these guys for the last 5 years, even in the recruiting process, you want to see them hear their names called, their dreams come true. But I think those are 2 interesting ones because they dealt with injuries, late in their careers. Malachi's dealt with injuries throughout his career, but he's played a ton of football. I think, for me, I think Q's a guy that could maybe surprise some people because he does have he's a lengthy edge rusher who can get after the quarterback. I know his senior season was cut short by injury, but he can never have enough pass rushers, and the NFL knows that. So I think he's one that could surprise. I think with Malachi, he's a little undersized from a safety standpoint. He doesn't have just blazing fast speed, but you see he's consistent. He's played since a true freshman. There's reason for that, especially doing so and a Nick Saban defense. And those guys are both going to come off the board. They're going to get drafted. I'll be interested to see where, but I hope they end up in good spots and have really long and fruitful careers.
Charlie, in regards to the transfer portal for football, I know Alabama basketball is still looking for some additions, but are you anticipating anything over the course of the next week in regards to the football team, adding a couple other pieces, whether it's the tight end position or maybe some surprise names that have not entered the portal yet from the Alabama roster currently?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the Troy tight end, Brody Dalton, is the one everybody's keeping an eye on. He's supposed to visit here this week, and he's got a North Carolina visit scheduled, but you always see, what happens there. Maybe if he makes it Tuscaloosa, he doesn't make it out without committing. And that, I think, tight end is number one on the board, just because Alabama had 4 scholarship tight ends going into the spring, and by the 8A game, they only had one that was on the field, and that was Jay Lindsey. So they have some guys they like Josh Cuevas is going to be their number one tight end. Danny Lewis is someone that they wanted to get out of the portal whenever he entered the portal this past offseason. And so they've got some young guys that are going to be coming in, but it's just a thin group overall. So I think that's where it starts. With offensive tackle, they like Caden Proctor and Wilkin Formby, so they're not necessarily looking for a starter. I think that's the case with a lot of these positions is you're not looking for, even maybe a power 4 guy that's going to come in and, start right away. If he comes in and pushes, great, but you're not looking for that guy where you're disrupting your roster because, like you said, right now they haven't lost a single scholarship player to the transfer portal. Maybe that's a little bit surprising just because the day and age we're in. It happens everywhere. You're going to lose some guys, but I think it says a lot about Kalen DeBoer and the staff and what they've been able to do, and I think the vision and the roster that's in place right now. So it's going to be an interesting next couple of days because obviously the portal window will close here soon, but they can still recruit. There's guys that can jump in that haven't yet that they could kick the tires on. So it's going to be interesting to follow. But right now I think a lot of our attention's on tight end and that guy from Troy.
What can you tell us as far as Nate Oates and the basketball transfer portal, seeing that potentially a transfer from Washington State going to make his decision between Alabama and Duke?
Yeah, that one's going to be interesting to follow because you're battling Duke, and then so say you win, this is hypothetically with Cedric Coward, the Washington State transfer, then you've got to wait for the draft process because he's going through that too. So that one's going to be probably annoying to some fans because say you sweat it out and you beat a team like Duke in a recruiting battle, then you have to wait for the draft process to play out. But I mean, I think also too that tells you the type of player and the quality of player that you're looking at. And Cedric Coward, he's a good player. I think he fits the system really well. He's coming off an injury which cut his season short, but I think would be a welcome wing addition to this team, which is something that it needs. And yeah, I mean, I don't think they're done. You look at a guard or a forward for this team, I think they could definitely use it. But right now, Cedric Coward, kind of like with the Troy tight end, that's kind of where you're looking at, where your focus is right now. And that one's probably got a little bit of ways to play out because you got the college teams you got to beat out, and then you've got to see how he does and the feedback he gets back in the draft process.
That is Charlie Potter from Bama Online joining us here on Three Man Front. Charlie, always appreciate your time, your insight. Hope to catch up with you soon.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. That's Charlie Potter joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Some interesting comments about where Jalen Milroe and that kind of plays with what everybody else is saying in regards to the NFL draft. We've got ESPN on, and I just saw up here basically saying the same thing Charlie did, which is this is a lottery ticket for Jalen Milroe. Somebody is going to have the guts to make that pick, and the ceiling is unquestionably high for Jalen Milroe, but we have seen the basement at times, and I think that's what scares a lot of NFL GMs.
Well, tax day has come and gone, and that's good news for some people because the government's going to be sending you some money. And if you've been thinking about a new automobile, a car, truck, and SUV, look no further than Dobbs Ford right there on Parkway East in Birmingham. Joey Goshen, Rachel Goshen, husband and wife, managing partners there at Dobbs Ford. But it's not just the Goshens, it's the entire team. You're going to get top-of-the-line customer service, and right now they're offering employee pricing. You come in, you're going to pay what their employees pay in 90 days until your first payment. They're going to beat any competitor's price. Alabama's largest showroom selection, the F-150s, the Broncos Sports, the Mustangs, Explorers, Escapes. Check them out, DobbsFordBirmingham.com. Go see and feel the difference at DobbsFordBirmingham.com. Make sure you tell them Landrum from Three Man Front sent you.
When we come back on Three Man Front live from Social Taco, could there be a trade? Number 2 and number 3, some NFL teams may be jockeying for better position. We'll tell you who that is and what they're looking at. That's next on Three Man Front. It is 7 minutes in front of the hour. You can join us. The doors will open up in 7 minutes right here at Social Taco. Talking a little bit about Jalen Milroe and the upcoming NFL draft on Thursday night. You can join us at Trim Tab beginning at 6 o'clock. Me and Molly will be on site there watching the draft and enjoying the time with the great Jocks listeners. Peter Schrager, who just made the jump from the NFL Network to the ESPN. He was on Get Up this morning, and listen to his intel talking about what potentially is going on right now with picks number 2 and number 3.
There have been phone calls made to both the Browns at 2 and the Giants at 3 with the intention to move up, from several different sources telling me there are teams who are looking to get up in this draft to either the 2 or the 3 spot. The assumption being to move up to the 2 or the 3 spot, it would be for Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, or the running back Ashton Genty, who everyone expects to go somewhere in that 5 to 7 to 8 range. there have been teams making calls, and those teams are not immediately slamming down the phone. The Browns at 2, the Giants at 3. Everyone assumes it's going to be chalk, that this is going to go Cam Ward, it's going to go Travis Hunter, it's going to go Abdul Carter. Not so fast. I think the 2 spot gets very interesting if the Browns are listening to a Godfather deal for them to trade back and someone to trade up into the top 3.
How about that? Ooh. Ashton Genty getting some love there. Do you think the chalk will hold, or do you think we'll get a little shake-up there at the top?
I think we're going to get a little bit of shake-up. I don't know if it's going to be as drastic as in years past, but Ashton Genty, a running back, and being valued potentially as
that
a top
high?
5. I'm just looking back. What's the highest drafted running back we've had in recent memory? It wasn't in the top 5, was it?
Saquon was number 2.
Well, Saquon, I was thinking about the last 3 or 4 drafts. How long has he been?
Oh, Bijan. Bijan, he was a top 5.
Top 10.
Yeah, he was top 10. I think he might have been like number 5 or 6 a couple years ago. And then Gibbs was like number 12 or something like that. But yeah, I mean, this would be a big deal.
I mean, if the word Cleveland comes out of anybody's mouth, if I'm a player and my agent says, hey, I think Cleveland might be thinking about, I would be like, I don't care what you do. I'll go play the UFL before I go to Cleveland.
I don't know, man. I would suck it up and probably play in Cleveland for that cash. I don't know what the real estate's like up there. I've never been to Cleveland.
I just bombed my interview.
Said it. I've never had a desire to go to Cleveland.
Has anyone?
I don't know.
Outside of LeBron, maybe? I don't think so.
Well, he didn't live too far away from there.
Pat, have you been to Cleveland?
I have not been to Cleveland.
Okay. You got Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. That's it.
I'm
Did
waiting.
they film the Drew Carey show there, or was that in Hollywood?
I think that was in Hollywood.
We are grasping at straws right now.
I want to go to the set and look at the pool table.
Let's see. What else in Cleveland?
You got a river.
The Cuyahoga.
There you go.
You got Wimp's favorite baseball team's the Guardians, right?
And see, they didn't even film Major League there.
They didn't?
Milwaukee.
They filmed in Milwaukee at County Stadium.
What?
You didn't know that?
No, I just assumed they did it at in Cleveland.
No.
Not in Cleveland.
Nope. Milwaukee's County
Or
Stadium.
at least the parts in game, but what? Okay.
Nope. So how about that? The most famous movie about Cleveland, Ohio, wasn't even filmed in Cleveland.
How bad is your city when
there?
they don't want to film there? They go to Milwaukee.
All right. 1 hour down, 3 more to go. Join us here at Social Taco. The doors are open up. We have listeners here on the Taco Terrace. You, too, can be a part of the fun and frivolity. Join us here at Social Taco. It is 11 o'clock on a kind of a dreary day. We will brighten your mood if you stop on by Social Taco. We'll be here until 2 o'clock.
The sun's shining always here
Always
in the Taco
here
Terrace.
on the Taco Terrace. It's bright, sunny.
Come get you one of those new buffalo chicken Mexican pizzas.
Yeah, saw a lot of folks last Tuesday enjoying that. You can come be part of the fun, just like Larry and Matthew have already made their appearance here.
We got Steve from Tuscaloosa. He is on his way.
He's already texted the show saying he's on his way, so safe journeys from Tuscaloosa. That's the cool thing. We have people traveling from all parts of the state, not only just Metro Birmingham, but parts of the state of Alabama to come up here and be a part of this. And listen, we're humbled by that, and
Absolutely.
we appreciate that very, very much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come be a part of us here at Social Taco. Braves win last night over the Cardinals, 7-6. Sean Murphy, a big 3-run bomb against JoJo Romero in the 8th inning, so they take game 1 of the series. 7-6. Iglesias got a little hairy there in the 9th inning. The Cardinals made it interesting, but the Braves get their big victory. It's now their 4th in a row, as they got 2 more games left on the homestand against the Cardinals before they hit the road again. The Cardinals are a league worst 1-10 on the road this year. Also happening last night, remember when TCU starting quarterback Josh Hoover turned down that lucrative deal from Tennessee over the weekend? Tennessee said, hey, if you go in the transfer portal, we'll pay you about $1 million. Come to Big Orange Country. We'll let you be the quarterback, play in front of 110,000 people. It's going to be great. He said, no thanks. I'm going to stay here in Fort Worth. So guess what they did? They called old Joey Aguilar, who was in the transfer portal, who was leaving UCLA because once Nico showed up, he decided, I'm going to hit the transfer portal. So basically we've had our first trade in the history of college football with quarterbacks. First time ever. So Joey Aguilar leaves UCLA, goes to Tennessee. Tennessee's Nico goes to UCLA. Word is that Aguilar is going to make the same amount of money that he made at UCLA, which was $1.2 million.
Yep, but income tax.
State income tax.
Boom.
There you go.
I love how everybody's starting to catch on.
I know. You felt like you had the market cornered in regards to telling people about that?
Well, it's just these are things that I think about. I think about those things and how they affect.
Well, you're thinking about the kids.
Yes, Conrad, thank you. I'm thinking about these poor innocent children that are making millions of dollars to go and play a sport that we all love to watch.
Now, I think this is pre-tax, but I read where Aguilar had already made $200,000 at UCLA.
Oh, nice. For spring practice? That's a pretty
How about
good little
that?
payday.
So he goes and practices for 15 practices for UCLA, and he makes $200,000.
So, but out there, that's what, 75.
But meanwhile, a UFL
Dollars?
football player makes $55,000 playing a whole season.
Yeah, right.
Isn't that crazy? The App State quarterback made $200,000 to practice 15 times at UCLA. This is a great country.
God bless America.
And
Capitalism at its best.
And how about this? So some new Heisman odds came out this morning.
Don't tell me Aguilar is higher than Nico.
He has almost double the odds that Nico has. Right now, Aguilar is plus 4,500 to win the Heisman. Nico plus 8,000.
And think about it this. Last year, Tennessee finished 9th in the SEC. Not 9th in the country. 9th in the SEC in scoring, averaging 25 points a game. They were the number 1 rushing offense in the SEC. You remember that. They were outstanding. But they were number 11 in passing offense. So it's just crazy to think what's going to happen in regards to seeing Joey Aguilar being the starting quarterback now as opposed to Nico.
But I think with Josh Heupel's offense, and he's obviously going to have weapons around him, this is a very quarterback-friendly. This is not like going and taking over a Jimbo Fisher offense as a quarterback where they said that was one of the toughest to learn at that position. Who knows?
What if he's the next Diego Pavia?
I've already seen articles this morning talking about if he could be the next Diego Pavia for Tennessee.
See, that would have been awesome, though, if we had gotten Diego Pavia.
To Tennessee?
To Tennessee.
Boy, Conrad just could not get Diego Pavia.
I was about to say, I would have
out of
preferred him
his-
transfer to somebody that's not on Alabama's schedule this upcoming season, but, it's all right. I'd rather him be at Vanderbilt than Tennessee.
So just when the drama would not end, then you have Nico's brother telling Ty Richardson and all the fine folks in Arkansas, see you later. I'm out. Madden Iamaleava, he gets in the transfer portal, and he is now committed. He is going to be his brother's backup at UCLA. I wonder how much money that cost him.
After he scorned UCLA originally, right? And then
he committed to UCLA originally, then he decommitted, ended up at Arkansas, and he had made some inroads. He was listed as the third-string quarterback for the Hogs during spring practice. So he had kind of made his way up the depth chart, but he was number 3. And so when his brother decided to tuck tail and head back to the left coast, he said, I'm going to join you there, and that's what happened.
Interesting. You think the living situation, you think the whole family just lives together in a house there in L.A.?
Like a compound?
Yeah, like a compound.
Oh.
Yeah, yes, a compound.
That's every college kid's worst nightmare, is it not? Live with mom and dad? Oh. Do you think that UCLA, could they have just, did USC hold on to that penthouse they rented for Caleb Williams? Could they just transfer that lease over to UCLA?
Do they still own the house that Reggie Bush and his family lived in?
Possibly so.
I'm just thinking of options. I'm worried about the Iamaleavas.
So as everybody knows, I'm a huge NBA fan, and I catch the NBA on TNT all the time when I'm not watching the Cardinals.
Did you enjoy the Clippers and Nuggets last night?
It was fan. Is that who played?
That was one of the games.
Wait, the Clippers.
No, now Leonard had a big night.
Still have a team?
No, Leonard had a big night. I can tell you that. I do know that.
How do you know that, Pat?
It's not the San Diego Clippers, by the way. It's the Los Angeles Clippers.
Hey, Conrad, can you imagine Pat is a secret NBA fan? He's wearing like his old Chris Mullin jersey, and he's got a sweatband. He's got wristbands on. He's hanging out.
Listen, I have been to Western Conference championship games between the Lakers and the Spurs. We were like basically season ticket holders for the Spurs when I lived in San Antonio. Loved it. But you and I have talked about it. It was a different era
yes, it
of
was.
NBA back then.
I've been to 2 NBA games. I went to the Hawks at Phillips when they were taking on the good Golden State, and that was worth it, and the Hawks were actually pretty good that year. And then I went to a T-Wolves and Thunder game at the first Final Four that I attended back in 2019, and I fell asleep in the third quarter.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say, those teams are a lot different now than they were 5 years ago.
Oh,
very much so.
It was brutal. Yeah. It was brutal, and it was like that.
Yeah.
It was white noise, and it helped me go to sleep. It was like a good golf nap with Jim Nance.
As I was watching the broadcast last night, because I was trying to, I umpired last night. I came home, watched the Cardinals implode, so I really couldn't go to sleep. So I was watching the NBA on TNT. Great show, obviously, with Kenny and Shaq and Charles and Ernie Johnson. This is the way it sounded like last night, very late. If you missed it, take a listen to what happened on TNT.
The other thing about Kawhi is, you all right, big fella? Catching a cramp?
Go ahead, keep talking, Chuck.
Yeah, we're on TV.
I know what we're doing. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's that olive oil you've been drinking.
I know.
Hey, take some matches with you. Hey, listen, he couldn't hold it. He can't hold it. After 40, he can't hold it no more.
That's a first.
He can't hold it.
Unless he's got something. That wasn't something planned, was it?
No,
it was not planned.
Hey, listen, he was in the back talking about he's going to drink alcohol to clear up his
No, he's been drinking the olive oil. You know what?
Olive oil to clean his gut. It's cleaning his gut.
I did not like his gait as he left. That was not a typical walk right there.
Hey, he been drinking. He says he read somewhere if you drink a shot of olive oil.
I saw them doing that the other day in the makeup room.
They've been doing it. They're going to do it. You have to do it for 2 weeks.
Well, you're going to miss a lot of airtime then.
Hey, listen.
I just hope we got enough matches around here.
Please turn his mic off. That's all.
That's another issue.
Hey, somebody go get some lighters.
Oh my God!
All right, yeah, let's.
You can't even.
How do we segue from that?
You can't even make. You can't even. Make this up. What I was going to say about Kawhi earlier before he goes, we need to get the thing. He reminds. Oh, here it is. So,
yeah. I've seen that face before.
Serious look.
I can feel it. Now he's lipping.
There was the gate. There was like
number one, drinking that water.
Oh, okay. Hey, listen, man.
Drinking that water.
You couldn't,
Drinking that water, huh?
Chuck, stop talking so damn much. What do you mean? Finish your point so we can go to break. We waiting on you, fool. I'm sitting here like, shut the hell up and hurry up. Anyway, sorry about that, America.
So, yeah.
Do you just blow that bathroom up?
Well, he did it pretty quickly, if that was the case.
I was about to say, that was like a minute and a half.
I think he had to.
Yeah, but he's been looking at the same things across your feed that come down, and it's the little infomercial, and it's the people that are swearing by drinking the olive oil every single day.
See, I was unaware of this.
Yeah.
Is that really good for you?
Does this clean your
gut
out?
I don't know. I actually asked yesterday on the Inferno podcast, Lyle Henley, who's a strength and conditioning coach. I asked him about the olive oil, and he kind of shook his head. I was asking him about what's the best thing, what's the best natural fat burner, and he said coconut oil is actually the best. But the olive oil, I've been seeing people trying to push it. And I've not tried. We used to put it on our dog's food, and it would
olive oil.
It would shine his coat.
According to the internet, which never lies, as we know, it says olive oil can help with bad cholesterol, and it can also lower blood pressure and reduce your risk of stroke.
Okay, probably good for a guy like Shaq. Just based on his size and his age.
Yeah, probably. Probably helps.
But yeah,
but if you get an opportunity,
you blow up that bathroom.
Do a Google search on that clip, because they're just doing their thing, as you heard on the audio, and then he basically just got up and like walked in front of the camera.
It was more of a waddle.
Yeah, and you heard Ernie Johnson talking about his gait. Yeah, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's."
Can you imagine?
He's like, and then he was
mad.
Can
you imagine the strides?
He was mad at Charles because Charles was obviously going on and on about something, and
I've been there.
Had caused them to go a little bit later in the section.
I feel for Shaq in that moment. I've been there.
Very much.
I think we all have.
That's why we're glad that show's not going away. Those are the kinds of things we can't lose as a society.
Yep,
can't lose.
I really care nothing about the NBA, but I watched that show just for that.
Yes. No, it's great stuff. And like Conrad said, just so happy that it's not going away, and that we will get an opportunity to see that on ESPN. Another opportunity is to be able to be at Protective Stadium on Friday night, Landrum, but the Finnick is also the place where that is the place where everyone's going to go watch the Stallions for the watch parties, and not to mention the fact some great events coming up this weekend.
Yeah, Rambler Sports Bar and Grill, beginning tomorrow, they're open for lunch. They've actually got, you can call ahead, and they're going to have your lunch ready for you. They got free parking, but tomorrow all the way through Sunday night, Rambler Sports Bar and Grill at the Finnick, you can go and check out on the 283-inch projector screen or all the video boards they have throughout the Rambler Sports Bar and Grill. Is just amazing, and they have great shareables. They got great appetizers. Their drink menu is second to none. You got to check them out. It's Rambler Sports Bar and Grill. They're at the Phoenix, 1630 2nd Avenue South, near Railroad Park. And you're right, you can go and just hang out with buddies. Maybe you call it a day on Friday this weekend, and you get in there early, and you can have some pregame there, and then jet on over to Protective Stadium and enjoy whatever they have going on. If there's a sport, they're going to have it on inside of Rambler Sports Bar and Grill, 1630 2nd Avenue South, near Railroad Park.
Come by and see us. We're located on the Taco Terrace. We're at Social Taco. This is Three Man Front on Jocks 94.5. 11:17, Jocks 94.5 on this Taco Tuesday. Come by and see us. We're located right here at Social Taco, right upstairs, Taco Terrace. You just met some brand new listeners coming by. To
Heather and her husband Destry, who are originally from Chilton County. Now they live on the lake.
Nice.
And they decided that they were going to take us up on it, and so they're here, first-timers.
That is fantastic. We welcome all folks to come on in. And
we got some folks that are going to be late arrivals, unfortunate passing of a friend with Don and Gringo and some of the others. But, yeah, you can make your way here to Social Taco. We're in the square in Homewood. We got the $4 all-day any combination, as many as you want, no limit on the tacos, but also the Mexican pizzas. I told you about the buffalo chicken that a lot of people were trying last week, and they raved about it. Everything that we have here at Social Taco, it's great. And we got the chicken feathers that you have ordered promptly, which is wonderful, and chips and salsa and the guacamole. You can add bacon to that bad boy. And, yeah, you're saying, yeah, it's good. Yeah, you
good
add
stuff.
bacon to anything, it's really good.
Absolutely. Let's come on by and see us. We'll be here until 2 o'clock here at Social Taco. College football playoff meetings. They are underway in the wonderful city of Dallas, Texas. Some of the things that they will be discussing over the course of the next few days, it will be this year's seeding. Will the leaders change the 2025 CFP bracket structure to a straight seeding model that teams seem to be in order that they want moving to the CFP selection? In regards to, in a nutshell, whatever they're ranked, that's where you're seated. None of this, if you're a Power 5, this team, that team, you get a bye here or there. It's just a straight seeding. They're also going to talk about the governance. Will every league and Notre Dame finish and sign the long-form agreement that formally gives near autonomous control of the CFP to the Big Ten and the SEC? It's been verbally agreed upon, but there is not a signed document. Some folks are a little nervous about that. Could somebody tuck tail, maybe run away, not give the SEC, the Big Ten, the power? That's another thing that they're going to be talking to in Dallas. A third point is the next college football playoff format. Will the Big Ten and perhaps the SEC in support of the Big Ten force through a 14 to 16 team model that gives as many as 4 automatic bids each for themselves? Now, I was reading one article this morning that was saying that Greg Sankey is really not that hell-bent on the SEC getting those automatic buys. He is more concerned about the likes of you ranking the teams 1 through 14, and those 1 through 14 are seeded into the tournament. That is what he is most concerned about, according to this article I read earlier this morning. Don't get your hopes up. We've seen this before, Landrum, where these guys get together and they have these really nice meals and they sit around and slap each other on the back, and it's a good time had by all, and then nothing's decided. They kick the can down the road, and then they say, well, we're going to continue to ponder this. We're going to continue to think about it, and then we'll get back together here in about another month and a half. Well, the time is ticking because ESPN wants this signed document, and if you're moving forward to the 2026, they need to go ahead and resolve whatever's going to be happening in 2025.
Yeah, I think we're going to get we'll get a resolution on the seeding, I believe, and then also on the expansion of teams. Now the question is, do they go to 14 or they go to 16? Do they inch it along and they're just going to do incrementally, where they kind of put the toe in and then they gradually slide into it, or just jump to 16? I'm not opposed to the 16 teams.
I say more the merrier.
More the merrier.
Why not?
I mean, did it ruin your college football season to have 12 teams?
Well, I just go back to the FCS. Look how many teams participate in the FCS. You don't have kids failing out of school. Remember, that was, first off, nobody cares about school anyway.
Nobody cares about school. The next time somebody brings up academics or school,
it doesn't matter at all. So, yeah, I say go to 16. Go the Coach K route. Just let all 133 teams play. And basically you start, like, in week 8, you start having the playoffs, the early seeding for the MAC teams and the Sun Belt and the Conference USA teams all play each other.
Yeah, but then, Pat, we're going to have to adjust portal windows again and do all of that.
One thing is for sure. These are the items that they do believe ultimately, hopefully, will get solved. More automatic qualifiers for the Big Ten and the SEC. A shift to straight seeding to determine first-round buys. Expanding, as you mentioned, from 14 to 16 teams. And there's talk about more on-campus games instead of making teams in the next, the second round go to, both sites. We're talking about potentially having the first 2 rounds on campus. So.
And that's why you incentivize, if you're going to add more teams, and you say you're going to get another revenue-producing game on your campus.
Right.
Which helps out everybody.
Right. So that's some of the things that will be discussed over the course of the next couple of days there in the wonderful city of Dallas, Texas. So we'll see exactly what takes place there. Speaking of the NCAA announced on Monday that the Division I Board of Directors, they have conditionally adopted far-reaching rule changes that would go into effect if the U.S. District Judge Claudia Wilken grants her final approval of the 10-year House settlement. Now, these sweeping changes could begin on July 1st. If she approves it, the NCAA would then put their plan in motion, in which schools would have until June the 15th to decide whether they want to opt in to provide the benefits and the money permissible that's now part of the House settlement. So in other words, the Ivy League's already said, we're not doing this. We're the Ivy League. We don't give scholarships anyway for athletes. We're not giving you money to play. So they're out, okay? The Ivy League's going to be the Ivy League. So then the big question is going to be, on June the 15th, how many of these programs, and I'm just throwing this out, what if the Toledo Rockets decide, you know what, we're not doing this anymore? You know, we're 0-20, where they're 1-23 the last 2 years in football. Like, why do we need to give these people this money? Like, our university's struggling. Let's just move away from this. That could be a possibility. I think you're going to see a lot of teams potentially do that. June the 15th is going to be the line of demarcation. Sports-specific roster limits that will allow full scholarships to all student athletes on a declared roster, a move that the NCAA said yesterday that will double the scholarships available possibly in women's sports. So if you have a program that, let's say Oklahoma, for example, they're a great women's softball program, and they feel like that program would suit them to be able to give everyone on that softball team a scholarship and award them with NIL money over, let's say, the men's rowing team.
Yeah.
That is their prerogative. They can do that based under this new system by the NCAA.
I was talking with a former administrator who is still active this past weekend, and they threw out a startling stat, and it's not one that's really highly publicized, but they said on average a Power 4 women's basketball program loses $1 million, which would supplement any of the other women's programs. It's just an interesting lens to look through, as opposed to looking at football and looking at men's basketball, where we naturally do, and you take women's basketball. And look, all 4, Dawn Staley and Gino Auriemma and these guys and ladies that are making crazy. She has been phenomenal and deserves every penny, but that just big picture, that's what's going on with some of these universities, and they're going to have to make a decision.
No doubt about it. Under this new NCAA plan, keep in mind that they eliminated 153 rules yesterday. 153 NCAA rules went out the window if U.S. District Judge Claudia Wilken grants the final approval. 153 off the books, including any player making over $600 in NIL. You have to report it, and those agreements between the player and a third party outside of their school will be reviewed by a clearinghouse. So that clearinghouse will take a look, and if Social Taco has given Landrum Roberts $601, then myself and Larry from Homewood, we're going to sit back at the clearinghouse, and we're going to look, and we're going to say, you know what? That deal that he has with Social Taco, that's worth a whole heck of a lot more than $601. We say that is a value of $2,500. Then all of a sudden, you're going to be paying $2,500 in taxes and whatnot moving forward.
No, that's what I tell Social Taco. Change the name of your business, and I just want a maximum of $600. So next week it's Taco Social DBA, and then we get another $600 check.
One other thing that the NCAA announced yesterday, that they will have an enforcement group that will be created and operated by the defendant conferences in this House lawsuit. In other words, the Power 4.
Yeah.
Those are the conferences that are mentioned in this House settlement. They're the defendants in the case. So those 4 conferences would determine moving forward how they will be obviously, the rules and regulations and how they will be penalized moving forward. So instead of the NCAA, an NCAA investigator, it would be obviously the Power Four. And I think Trev Alberts is on that committee, if I'm not mistaken. Molly's favorite.
It'll be interesting. I'll get some scoop because I'll be down there with the NCAA folks next week, at the end of next week.
And if you're thinking that the NCAA is concerned about what this future is going to look like, Front Office Sports this morning reported that the NCAA has thrown extra resources towards lobbying during the first few months of the Trump administration. It spent $450,000 on federal lobbying in the first quarter of 2025. So the NCAA continues to hemorrhage money on losing lawsuit after lawsuit. Now they have spent $450,000 of the member institutions' money on federal lobbying in the first quarter of 2025. That is double the amount of money they spent last year during first quarter under the Joe Biden administration.
$450,000
to the first quarter.
$1,000
in lobbying.
Golly, you need to be a lobbyist.
It's good money.
Yeah, you just go make your pitch, try to grease some palms, and see what happens.
Well, Don and BB have made it up here to the Taco Terrace as
Yep.
Don is doing his best imitation of the mayor.
Yeah, he's been there for a while.
Yeah.
Might have to run some interference.
Yeah, I was about to say you might have to go run.
I don't want to scare him off just yet.
Yeah, not yet. All right, we're live at Social Taco. Come on by and see us. You can be part of the fun and the great food here at Social Taco. We will get to your text messages. We got a ton coming in regards to a lot of topics. Transfer portal, UCLA quarterbacks, Tennessee's new quarterback, and this new NCAA moving forward. That's next on Three Man Front.
Welcome back in, and the Terrace is starting to get some more visitors. You can join us here at Social Taco in the Square in Homewood. It is the mix and match $4 tacos all day long. We got some hot chicken feathers. It's the pulled chicken that is battered and fried, and you got a couple of dipping sauces that I like to indulge in. Pat just goes bare, and there's nothing wrong with that. Also got the loaded up guac that we were talking about with the bacon. You like that? How they jazz it up.
Jazzed it up.
Social Taco, come and join us, and don't forget, if you can't get in here before 2 o'clock, 3 to 6, every single day is the half-off happy hour, half-off appetizers and drinks. SocialTaco.bar for more information.
So after these spring storms, you need to think about your roof. Seriously, it's amazing what kind of damage can be done by these heavy winds, hail, heavy rain that attacks the roof of your home, missing shingles, hidden cracks, little things that can turn into big, expensive problems down the road. That's why I'm telling you about my good friends over at Abide Roofing, Travis Lloyd and his local roofing team. They're absolute pros, and they're offering something tremendous right now. How about a complete free roof inspection? No strings attached, no pressure, free roof inspection. They just want to give you an honest look at what's going on up there and give you their opinions on what is happening and some options if you got some problems that's heading down the road. And trust me, folks, I'm speaking from experience. A few years back, Travis and Abide Roofing, they took care of me. Got a brand new roof, and even when my insurance company was being, well, let's just say difficult at times, Travis was right there helping me every step of the way. I 100% trust these guys. They're licensed, bonded, insured. They're the real deal. Call them today at 205-922-7134. That's 205-922-7134. Or go to their website, abideroof.com. Do it for your home. You won't regret it.
Myriad of topics, people texting in on the Jocks text line, 205-834-9450. Some of the texts, we always read all of the texts, but some of the texts are not fit for air. I try to do the best I can to clean them up, and a couple of these just would not be appropriate. But this one going back to the city of Cleveland, and we were trying to find selling points on why you would want to visit Cleveland if you were not drafted and paid millions upon millions of dollars. All right, here we got some suggestions. Parts of A Christmas Story were filmed in Cleveland.
Okay.
Gary and his wife have actually been there. Their daughter lives in Cleveland. So we can ask Gary when Gringo arrives other great things that Cleveland has to offer. But I think that'll be a short conversation. Captain America, the Winter Soldier, also had a lot of footage there as well. Thank you for that text. This one rolling in. I would play in Cleveland if they would go back to the 80s Road Whites. A great uniform. Yes, it was.
That was fantastic. Bernie Kosar as your quarterback.
Funny how Pete Nakos netted more money out of this situation than Nico.
That's a good text.
College from Pell City, you win.
That is the winning text of the day. That is tremendous. And he's absolutely right. I mean, he got a new multi-year contract extension and a raise.
He got called
a bitch
by Nico's dad.
Nick. Mm-hmm.
And then right after that, he gets a raise.
So now who's the B word?
Yeah. Good for you, Pete. Give us some dollar amount breakdown of tax savings on his NIL deal going from California to Tennessee. Pat, are you capable of doing this?
I am in the process of doing that as we speak.
Well, Pat figures the tax savings that Aguilar will get leaving UCLA and going for the same amount of money to Tennessee. Josh says, today in 2010, the first NFL draft ever to be put on primetime took place. It drew 7.29 million viewers in the first round. 3 of the top 4 picks were Sooners. Now look where they are. LOL. Thank you, Josh in Huntsville, listening on the
He said 2010?
Yes.
So that would have been Sam Bradford. I'm trying to think of who the other guys would have been. Sam Bradford would have been number 1. Maybe Adrian Peterson was in that draft as well?
And then who, wide receiver maybe?
Yeah, maybe so.
Drake says apple cider vinegar or olive oil is good for you, and it lowers both your blood pressure and cholesterol, and it's good for your skin.
Does it taste? I don't know. I've just never had straight olive oil before. I have to imagine it doesn't taste very good.
It's not terrible. It's not terrible. I can promise you apple cider vinegar is much worse.
I can't do vinegar. The smell
Yeah,
alone.
vinegar's tough.
Yeah. No.
Jimmy, back to the CFP, says, I hope they do a straight seeding format. If college is basically NFL light, then do it like the NFL does. And if there's a bye, then give seeds 1 and 2, which would basically be copying the AFC and NFC, skipping wild card weekend. Conrad, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that if you move to a 14-team format, right? You have the top 2 teams get a bye, and then the other 12 teams play, and then so after that, you're left with 8 teams. I don't mind that. I don't hate that idea. I like that more than the system we had this past year. Not a fan of the buys for just because you won a conference champion. No.
I will try to take out the high points because someone took the time to write a lot, to text a lot. College football should completely do away with NIL and student athletes. Just make them sign contracts. You get a scholarship. It's really a contract where they sign for 2 years, and after that they meet certain incentives, and they can be eligible for a, quote, raise in the offseason before bowl championship games. All this, I'm cool with $1 million, but after 8 starts, I'm not playing unless it's doubled. That's not sustainable. Yeah, there's a lot that is wrong about the way it's set up right now, to whoever this is that texted us. Unfortunately, the kind of wholesale changes you're talking about, that would entail a lot more. You got to make them employees.
I was about to say,
bargaining.
No more school. You're not going to class if that's the case.
No.
All right, so let's do some quick math. Okay, so the state income tax for the state of California is 13.3%.
All right.
It is 0% in the state of Tennessee. So he was scheduled to make around, what, $2.2 million? I'm talking about Nico.
Okay.
Right? So if you do the math, if he's going from the state of Tennessee to the state of California, that would mean that per $1 million, he is going to lose $130,000 by going to California that you're going to have to pay in taxes. So, and I think the deal, Conrad, if I'm not mistaken, is $1.5 million.
Correct.
That's reported. Okay. So he's already taking a $700,000 pay cut by going from Tennessee to UCLA.
And then with income tax, you're looking at roughly, what, another $190,000?
Possibly, right.
So minus $190,000 there.
Mm-hmm. Plus the pay cut you're already taken. So you're close to $1 million that this whole fiasco of him leaving Knoxville for Westwood, California, and not to mention the
fact. How much
do
you think Dad's getting of that? You think he's taking a cut?
Well, you better believe it. He's got to pay for food in the compound for him and his brother.
The compound.
And on top of that California is one of the most expensive states to live in.
Yeah.
In the United States.
So basically he's going to make roughly $1.3 million to play at UCLA after taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And compared to what he was going to get at Tennessee, which would have been $2.2 million. So, yeah, about $900,000 decrease. And you have a worse coach. You're on a worse team. You have worse weapons around you.
Ooh. That's amazing.
Hey, but his parents didn't lead him astray, right? Because that's what they came out and said last week. They are not giving him bad advice.
So as far as state taxes go, California is the highest at 13.3.
Hey,
Hawaii.
Can you imagine what your homeowner's insurance probably runs out there now?
Yeah. Don't think that you and I aren't paying for a lot of the California mess with our income. With our insurance, what we're having to pay for our homes. Hawaii's at 11%. New York is at 10.9%.
God, Hawaii?
Hawaii, 11%.
I mean, it's nice, but whew.
They want you to visit. They don't want you to live there.
Yeah, apparently not.
And New York, that's a steal. 10.9?
10.9%.
What is New Hampshire?
New Hampshire is 0%.
What are we, for comparison's sake?
I'm trying to remember. I did my taxes about a month and a half ago.
What are we, like 5 or 6% or something?
That sounds right.
That's what I was thinking.
Texas 0, Florida 0, Tennessee 0.
Let's see.
It's
Alabama
2 to 5%,
uses progressive,
right?
yeah.
Depending
2
on
to
your
5%.
income. Yeah.
Okay, so this might be a dumb question. Is that a lottery or gambling type thing where those states are able to not have a state income tax because they're getting that money from somewhere else, and that's why we still have one?
Or is it the property tax that they basically get it back on?
Ah, okay.
I think all of the above.
Gotcha.
Just different streams of revenue.
Yeah.
that the state is able to.
It's just coming
to
from
capture.
a different kitty.
Yeah. So.
And a follow-up on that, this is why I listen. So appreciate you getting that information.
From a business decision and from a professional decision on his future as a quarterback, this made no sense whatsoever. None.
Is it easy to say that this, so far, is the worst move we've seen in the transfer portal era for football?
I mean, the jury's out just to see exactly how this ends up, how the story ends. But as of this moment, it's right up there.
Would you put the Jaden Rashada situation ahead of this? They're completely different beasts, but
yeah, I would still put Rashada because we have not seen Rashada do anything on the playing field. And I mean, you could say what you want to about Nico being a mediocre quarterback, but he did get his team to the college football playoff, and they did beat Alabama.
Yeah, but based on what we know, Rashada never had a deal per se, as opposed to Nico was actually getting money. He was actually getting this money. Rashada was just promised a bill of goods that he found out shortly thereafter he was not going to get. So, yeah, Nico, he was fat and happy. He didn't have to do anything else. I mean, he wasn't great last year. He wasn't terrible. But a lot of people agree that if you're going fair market value on return on investment, he was being overpaid. So I think Nico right now would be your leader in the clubhouse. But moving back home, you're from there. You're used to paying all those high taxes. You're used to the smog and the bad traffic and the craziness that is California. Enjoy your avocado toast and
if you missed it last night,
products.
His baby brother now is going to be his backup quarterback at UCLA, Madden.
I wonder how much he's getting. That'd be an interesting one. Because, I mean, he's probably still getting, what, $500,000 maybe, something like that?
What is so interesting about this is that, so, as I mentioned before, Aguilar made $200,000 by being in 15 practices at UCLA, and now he's going to Tennessee. He's playing with a better football team in a better conference, and he's having an opportunity to not pay state income tax. I mean, Aguilar is going to be the biggest winner of all of these guys.
This text reads, Landrum, beware of folks from Chilton County. My buddy Jimmy with United Acoustics listening to the show.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Jimmy, thank you.
Should you go over there and have a conversation with them?
I already have. No, they seem like really nice people. That's what I was worried about. Don. He was over there, and he was kind of cornering. I don't want to talk too loud. I don't want to hurt his feelings, but, you know, looks like they're having a nice husband and wife.
Yeah.
You know, date time. Walker is asking or saying you can input the income and it'll calculate the tax for you, and he has sent us a California.gov tax calculator. Thank you very much. Did you actually calculate the taxable income using the tax bracket or just a flat tax?
Flat tax.
Flat tax. There you go. Thank you, Walker. All of our CPAs now weighing in.
And we appreciate that.
Yeah, we do.
Because I'll be the first person to tell you that was not my strong suit in college.
No, that's why I use a service like you do, and I plug in the numbers. Let them figure it out. Our friends at Intuit.
Yes. and you pay for the audit service as well.
I pay for it all. I don't want to deal with it.
Make sure I don't get audited.
205-834-9450. You can always text the show, and we will read them when we can. Who's this guy? Do you know him?
No.
Oh, you were looking like I need to
no,
get my defensive posture.
I mean, we've got like 4 or 5 brand new folks here today.
They look respectable.
I know.
Like they contribute to society.
I know. I'm very, very happy to see that.
All right, we'll continue live from Social Tacos. 3-man front on a Tuesday. Jocks 94.5.
It is 11:51, Jocks 94.5 coming up at the top of the hour. We'll go down to the great state of Louisiana, the Boot.
The Boot.
Ruston, Louisiana. Our good friend Sean Fox from Sports Talk 97.7. He's going to join the program. Talk a little LSU spring football, some LSU baseball.
Yeah, but we got to ask because they got to be getting excited about the Who-Dats. You got new coach, and you got the future.
Yep, they're going to draft Jalen Milroe. Is going to be your new starting quarterback.
Oh, I wonder how that would go over.
Well, I already know how Matt Moscona feels about it, so we'll ask Sean Fox how he feels about it.
What would Moscona do if Jalen Milroe got selected by the Saints?
That would be a problem.
We have to have him on the show on Friday if that happens. If Jalen Milroe goes number 9 overall, have to have Moscona on the show. It'll be all-time classic radio.
Oh man, that would be great. I would watch a wrap-up show with him and T-Bob.
That's what we
T-Bob actually wouldn't be as bad. Moscona would go nuts. He would go nuts. Well, you're going to go nuts because there's stinging insects. There's pesky bugs, maybe because of the rain, maybe because of the warmer weather, but it's the truth. Mosquitoes, ticks, ants, stinging insects, they all can be a problem, but not with our friends at Stark Exterminators. Make the call that me and my wife did over 3 years ago, and they'll have a professional team member come out to your house or your place of business. You can call today, 855-START-NOW, and they will come out, perform the free pest inspection, and they'll come up with a customized plan for you. Stark has been family-owned for over 61 years. That means something to me, probably means something to you. And it's a company that you can trust, and any of their team members are going to be professional, they're going to be courteous, and they're going to make sure that you are satisfied. That's right. They guarantee 100% of your satisfaction as a customer is guaranteed. Stark Exterminators. Call today, 855-START-NOW, and set up the free home or business or both pest inspection. 855-START-NOW, or go to starkexterminators.com. Always tell them Landrum from Jocks 94.5 sent you.
So we told you a little bit earlier in the show some big news from the South Side is UAB basketball. They have added Syracuse forward transfer Chance Westry. He has now signed on with UAB. He's a former top 40 overall recruit who began his career at Auburn. So he started at Auburn. He went to Syracuse. Now he's coming back home to the state of Alabama, where he will play for Andy Kennedy. Also, Andy Kennedy announced that Brazilian center that basically in the press release and what Andy Kennedy is saying is calling him JV. I'm not even going to attempt to say his name, but this morning UAB announced that the 6'10 center who played at Indian Hills Community College, before that he was at Utah Valley out in the far west. He redshirted before going to Arizona Western and then transferring to Indian Hills, which is a community college there in Iowa. He averaged 6 points a game, 6.5 rebounds, shot 54% from the field. He is 6'10", so he gives UAB that post presence.
And it's interesting he's coming from Arizona Western, where Yaxel Lindeborg.
Little pipeline there, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
And it kind of worked out pretty well for Yax.
A little familiarity. I would say, yeah, if you went in, you sold, hey, this is what we did with the Yax, this is what we can do for you, and I would think that JV probably jumped at the opportunity. And you think about it, in some of these programs, these schools, they are hamstrung by with the rates continuing to go up. And I don't know what the collective looks like for Andy and the Blazers with their basketball program, but to go and to find some of these gyms and to find the guys from the JUCO ranks, I've been actually very impressed with this haul so far.
No, very, very much so. And it's been quiet, but they have done a really nice job here as of late. Andy Kennedy doing what he does well. Meanwhile, on the Alabama basketball front, Cedric Coward, a 6'6 guard from Washington State who averages 18 points a game, shoots 40% from the three-point arc for the Cougars. He has now narrowed down his schools to either Alabama or Duke. Very interesting competition between those two to get the services of Cedric Coward, 6'6 guard from Washington State. Other news from Alabama today, it was announced on Truth Social that Donald Trump has agreed to do the commencement address at two really great places he put on Truth Social, the University of Alabama and West Point. Says stay tuned for times and dates. So that's Donald J. Trump will be coming to Tuscaloosa to deliver the commencement address.
How many people that weren't planning on going and watching their nephew or their niece walk, now they're going to invest a day in it, and it will take all day.
And I could be wrong about this, it could have changed, but just based on when I graduated, Friday was typically the bigger day where you had, I guess, the larger schools or the larger majors that were graduating. So I would expect that he would maybe be there on Friday, which would be May the 2nd, but I could be wrong. But that's just how it was when I was there.
So who was the speaker, the commencement speaker at your graduation, Conrad, at Alabama?
Oh, you were asking him. Good.
Then I'll ask you.
Oh, I don't know. We did our communications one. It was like inside Coleman Coliseum because of the weather, and we didn't have a speech.
Who was at yours? Did you walk?
I did, yeah. It was our president.
Who's your president?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like a state senator. I wasn't there. They mailed me mine.
Yeah, no, I'm like you. I didn't walk.
I was already working in the real world. Had already gotten offered a job, so I didn't have time for all that.
You're ready to move on.
I'm ready to move on. Send me my diploma.
All right, coming up next on Three Man Front, Sean Fox will join us from Sports Talk Radio 97.7 down in Ruston, Louisiana. Much more to come. Join us here at Social Taco. We're live at Social Taco. I see a little bit of sun outside. Is that good news or bad news?
I think
for
that's
weather?
good news.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not, as long as it doesn't get mucky and steamy like it is down in the state of Louisiana most days.
No, it's very cool and moist down
Mosquitoes
there. Mosquitoes
are the size of hummingbirds.
Nah, that's God's country down there.
No, I love the state of Louisiana. Mm-hmm. I do. Yeah, Funroe, Louisiana. We got friends down there.
Okay. I believe you.
Yeah. Is Louisiana like the state of Texas where it just depends on where you go? It's like different states entirely?
Well, let's ask our next guest because I'm sure he has been all over that wonderful state. And we're talking to Sean Fox, sports director, talk show host there at 97.7 in Ruston, Louisiana. He joins us now on Three-Man Front. So tell us, you being the quasi-director of tourism for the state of Louisiana, how is your state?
Well, there's a place between heaven and hell you guys are just talking about. It's called purgatory, and that's what Louisiana seems to be. It's just purgatory all the time. We have no seasons. It's usually just hot or cold. Nowhere in between. And yes, we are two different states. My grandfather used to call Alexandria, which is central Louisiana. It's kind of the line of demarcation. He called it the Boudin line and/or the armpit of the state. But once you get above central Louisiana, a lot of North Louisiana, we still have great food. But it is very, very different. And I grew up in South Louisiana until I started college, and I've been up here since then. But it is like, this is more South Arkansas than it is Louisiana. Two people who are from South Louisiana who don't come here very often. But like, as I've always told y'all, this is a stronghold for LSU up here for the longest time. Monroe, Louisiana was the biggest LSU alumni base in the state outside of Baton Rouge. It's not much like that anymore. No, it's still an LSU stronghold, just not like it was. But, of course, there's a guy from Monroe who's going to hear his name called very, very early on Saturday. Or, on Thursday.
Is go spelled the same way in all parts of the state? Is it E-A-U-X?
That is the one thing, yes. As long as it involves LSU. If it involves, like the others, like you don't put go ULM, G-E-A-U-X. But everything LSU, it's G-E-A-U-X.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about.
Real defensive about that.
So let's talk a little bit about this spring for LSU football. I know they were very active in the portal. What are you hearing? What's the mood like going into the next season with Brian Kelly at the helm?
So, guys, here's the thing. Like, you know what happened with Bryce Underwood, and that was a really big blow to this team when it happened. I mean, you put your eggs in that basket. That was going to be your guy, and you were going to pay him substantially. I'm not going to sit here and pretend this kid might not be the next best thing. Like, I think he is probably going to end up being worth the hype. The other part of it is this transfer class probably doesn't come together if they bring in Bryce Underwood. That allowed them some funds to loosen up, and they went out. And Brian Kelly, like, to his credit, we're all trying to figure out, because we're still very early in this NIL transfer portal era. Brian Kelly was of the same mindset of, I think a lot of us used to be, is, hey, we're going to continue to build through the high school ranks, and we'll fill in plugs with JUCO guys. That's how they used to do it. Well, then Brian Kelly's like, we'll still build through the high school ranks, but we'll fill in the holes with the junior or the transfer portal players. I think he got kind of an awakening this past year. Is I hate it for the high school kids, but you might not need to start, if it's not 50-50, maybe even more transfer of players in right now. It's not that high school kids are important. They are, but if your opponents have older guys, it makes a difference. So they went in. They were very aggressive. This was the most aggressive that they've been. They brought in 2 offensive linemen who are 2 of the top offensive linemen in the portal, one from Northwestern, Josh Thompson, another one, his last name's Moore, starting center for Virginia Tech. Now, both were in and out of the starting lineup during the spring, but I think both will start come springtime. They added some really good edge rushers. This is probably going to be the best pass rush LSU's had in a while. And they brought in with Nick Anderson from Oklahoma, with Varian Brown from Kentucky. I think LSU, you add with Chris Hilton and Aaron Anderson from last year, Garrett Nussmeier has a track team. This will be one of the fastest receiving corps in the country. This is the most talented team that Brian Kelly has had. It's year 4. I think we're kind of out of excuses now. I'm not saying national championship, but I think everybody's expecting a playoff.
Would Varian Brown be the guy that you think has the biggest impact? Maybe not as a whole, but at least for the offense, special teams this year?
Well, that's the thing. Like, they've got, like, the thing about LSU for the past couple years is, man, they put out so many top-flight athletic cornerbacks, like a Derek Stingley and a Patrick Peterson and a Tyrann Mathieu, who were also great return guys and great wide receivers. You saw those guys. But they have not had a bunch of special teams touchdowns through the years. Well, Aaron Anderson returned one for a touchdown last year. Xavier Thomas ran one back for a touchdown last year. I'm talking about kickoff returns. and then you add Braylon Brown, who's Barian Brown is one of the best in the SEC. All of a sudden, you've got a lot of weapons in special teams. But I do like the way – I'm anxious to see who's going to get the punt return job and the kick return job. I think Barian Brown will get one of those two. But what we've seen from him in the spring, they're going to try to utilize him a lot of different ways. I mean, he is a straight burner, and he has not played with a quarterback at Kentucky like he's going to have with Garrett Nussmeier.
All right, so Sean, you just mentioned it. It's year 4. The expectations are through the roof. It was through the roof in year 1, but now because of the fact that he gets out of the gate really slow, historically, at least there in Baton Rouge, what are the expectations? I mean, are we looking at this, it's college football playoff or bust? Because we're kind of going through the same thing here in the state of Alabama when it comes to Hugh Freeze. Now, granted, the expectations weren't as high as Brian Kelly coming to Baton Rouge because Hugh Freeze had to build the program back up because Brian Harsin had single-handedly destroyed it. But just that competition there and the fact that Brian Kelly and the rest of the SEC is so daggum tough, the addition of Texas and not so much Oklahoma, what do fans really do believe that this LSU team can do this year? And if not, does that mean his job's in jeopardy?
So I'll start with the last part. If they go 9-3, 8-4, do I think they're going to fire him? Especially 9-3, no. Do I think that will obviously bring the heat a little more the next season? Yeah. But you just mentioned one of the biggest things that they've got to try to overcome is the slow start. Brian Kelly is yet to win an opener as coach at LSU. Now, all of them were neutral sites. The 2 games with Florida State, one was in New Orleans, the other one was in Orlando. Last year in Las Vegas, and they lost all 3 of those. This, to me, is the toughest opener that they've had. Not only is their neutral site team or neutral site game, I think this Clemson team is definitely poised for another playoff run, if not win the ACC. So, I mean, I'm looking at LSU eventually the odds you're going to win an opener, but I would not be shocked again if LSU starts the season 0-1 and fighting uphill. But I still do think they've got the talent to overcome it this year. But, if they go 9-3 and don't make the playoffs, do I think he gets fired? No. But I do think anything less than the playoffs and that seat just gets warmer next season.
We heard Auburn head coach Hugh Freeze, and he talked about Auburn's got $20.5 million that are dedicated right now to this current roster as far as collective. Any idea what LSU's looks like, Sean?
It's about that. It's the most they've spent. And I think right now and you guys have probably read the studies. I mean, we saw what Ohio State put out there last year. I mean, just to get in the door right now, you got to spend at least $15 million. We've got basketball teams now spending $10 to $13 million. So I'd imagine football will be $15 to $20 million. So I feel I don't have the exact number, but I'm very confident it's close to around what you guys just said about Auburn. It's not more.
And the baseline, from what I understood, and this was from a coach that does not coach at the Power 4 level, but you would be very familiar with this program. And $100,000 was the starting point. $100,000 was the starting point, even to go and transfer to a Power 4 roster to be maybe the third guy.
Yep. Yeah, I've heard some guys from our neck of the woods at the Techs in the ULMs, particularly. I mean, they're getting at some schools $200,000, $300,000, knowing they're going to be at best on the 2 deep, not necessarily starting. I mean, it's kind of like what we used to do years ago. I'm talking years ago, where we're going to sign that guy, maybe he won't play for us to just make sure he doesn't play for y'all. That kind of feels like where we are right now, and there's never been a more insane time in sports. And guys, I don't know about your audience. Like I'm like addict. Addiction comes in many forms. Like I'm a college football addict. I love it. Like I hate where we've come, where we are, but I'm still going to watch it. We get more calls and texts every day that are like, guys, I don't know how much longer I can do this, because this is not the sport we fell in love with.
No, same here. We get the same ones. But I just wonder, is it the same people that said that they were going to quit watching the NFL?
The NFL, yeah, right.
Yeah, but then secretly when nobody was watching, they're glued to their TV sets every Sunday.
Well, the ratings showed that, and I go on that high horse. All y'all who said you weren't going to watch, well, the NFL ratings say differently. Do I think it's – well, again, the ratings were the highest they've ever been in college football this year. Attendance hasn't really gone down, so I don't think we like it, but we're going to continue to watch it. And it's – look, for the LSUs and the Alabamas and the Auburns of the world, they're going to be fine. What I really feel sorry for is the UABs, the South Alabamas, the Louisiana Techs, and the ULMs. Those are the ones whose future I'm worried about.
No doubt.
Talking to Sean Fox from Sports Talk Radio down in Ruston, Louisiana, 97.7. Are you still doing mornings and afternoons? I know you kind of have a split shift at times.
I've actually taken a break from mornings, so it's just afternoons
Good
and
for you.
ESPN Plus, but only during football and basketball season. So not even doing that for baseball. So.
Okay, so let's talk about this Nico mess. Love to hear your take on what took place up in East Tennessee. What does that do for your thoughts on Tennessee trying to make it back to the college football playoff?
Nico, I'm going to leave you. What a case study for college athletics in 2025. I thought Tennessee took a stand, not just for their program. I think they took a stand for the rest of college football. Good for them. And everybody's going to applaud them now. And their fans are going to applaud them now. But what's going to happen come October, and maybe they've dropped a game or two, and Nico's out on the West Coast, which I don't think is going to happen, and lighting it up. Like, you took the moral stand now, but will your people support you in the season if things go south? But listen, guy, I can't blame him. Like, Nico's a nice player, but you've ultimately got to make the call. Is key, and then I'd also say his dad worth the trouble. And I think that's kind of the double-edged sword that went along with it. But, I mean, it was fascinating to watch. And then you've seen the after effect. Now his brother, what they've done at Arkansas, they're up and leaving and going in Arkansas. But then we see the UCLA quarterback end up at Tennessee. It is fascinating to watch what we have become.
LSU basketball, just quickly.
Yeah.
What do you foresee in the future of that program?
Well, everybody wanted Will Wade back. There's a lot of disappointed people that didn't happen. And, guys, I had heard rumblings that there was some back channeling to see if that could happen. And I think people got some cold feet at the last minute. I still think Matt McMahon's a good coach. But you got to look, when you're not spending money, it's no coincidence that the two worst teams in the SEC this past year were the two lowest in NIL. They have given him money. They've spent it. I'm still having a hard time coming to grips with where we are today, where you're going to spend $2 million on the point guard from UNLV. If you were going to tell me that LSU was going to spend $2 million on a basketball player, I'd have thought Cooper Flagg was coming. But that's where we are. They have spent the money. They have gotten guys who are all-conference players at mid-major programs. They haven't got that major guy to come over. But listen, we've seen Auburn. We've seen other teams build their roster, mix it in with guys from this level. So we'll see. They are spending some money behind it. We'll see if it pays off.
All right, so we're going to see you. If the SEC baseball season ended right now, LSU would be here on Friday. Will we see Sean Fox here in attendance in Hoover watching the third seed LSU Bengal Tigers?
I would sure hope so, but you guys know my luck. If things don't blow up or something goes wrong.
You do have some bad luck, whether it's your AC, flat tire.
Seems like it's always an AC with Sean.
Yeah, it's always something with him.
You ever see that guy walk around with a black cloud over his head? That's how I feel. But yet, I put a smile on my face. So we'll see. I'd love to be a part of it. I mean, that's the next best place outside of Omaha. Absolutely.
There's no question, and it's amazing because there's so many people that I talk to around the Southeastern Conference, and I understand that obviously where you live, it's not like a 2-hour drive to Birmingham, Alabama. I get that, but there's a lot of people around the conference footprint that have just not been able to punch that off their bucket list of coming to Hoover and being able to see the SEC baseball tournament. And I strongly recommend. LSU is always one of the great fan bases.
Yep.
They get here early. They're here on Monday for BP and practice. And they fill up with the RVs and everything. It's just
they infuse our economy.
Yes, they help pay for new roads and infrastructure.
ABC
so
store sales go up.
Yes.
Well, to steal a phrase, LSU baseball, it just means more. Like the expectations at LSU baseball are the same as Kentucky basketball, at Alabama football. LSU is the one program in college baseball that if you don't even make it to Omaha, your season's failed. But, man, these people are ravenous about it.
Remember the good old days of Smoke Laval? Just kidding.
I've smoked a lot of Laval since then, guys.
Hey, what
Yes,
will the
we
reaction?
remember smoke.
What will the reaction be if Jalen Milroe got drafted by the Saints?
We had a fun conversation, guys. Thank you for. Really?
I'm just curious why we had you on.
I mean, look, if he gets drafted in the second round, I'll be fine. I will try to convince myself with Kellen Moore we can work our way into kind of like what they've done with Jalen Hurts. I mean, Lord, if they were playing the Saints, if the Saints were playing LSU with Jalen Milroe, I'd feel great about it. Unfortunately, Jalen Milroe is not going to play LSU. I don't really love anybody in this quarterback class for the Saints at 9. If I'm being serious and they do draft one, I got a feeling it's going to be Jackson Dart. I just hope it's not at 9.
Nah.
Yeah, that's pretty high for.
That's all right. You'll have Nico next year.
Okay. Just pick on me day. I get it. All right.
No. I was playing into the black cloud that follows you around.
Look, look. Nico's probably the starting quarterback for your team in Birmingham before he starts with the Saints. All right. So.
Hey, you know what? We might have to have him get the going rate of quarterbacks.
Matt Corral is down right now, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's going to be playing this week.
Well, shout out to my guy Skip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Skip's done a really nice job, and I know it did not end very well in your neck of the woods for Skip and Louisiana Tech, but he has come to Birmingham, and he has done a really nice job here. So
what has that program done since he left?
I will tell you this. Yeah. Not good. I'll
Yeah.
tell you, and I'll be honest. Like, I was one who was like, it's probably time for Skip. I will also say Skip was probably the best coach that Tech may have ever had. Just because it failed one place doesn't mean that you're a bad coach. We've seen so many people do that, and he's appreciated in this area more than he knows. He's a good man. He's a good coach.
He's a great man. Yes. Yeah, and we echo all of that. He's good people.
Very much so. Well, listen, Sean, have a great show this afternoon. We always appreciate you joining us, and enjoy the springtime weather you're having in the wonderful state of Louisiana.
It's only 95. It'll be 40 in the morning, back to 95.
Thanks, Sean. That is Sean Fox joining us here on the Higginbotham Hotline. Always fun to catch up with Sean.
I was going to remind Sean that the Israelites, they used the cloud every single day. Just wherever the cloud went, right? That's
right.
where they went.
It's no doubt.
They might have to eat a little manna.
Perhaps. But the pressure that you're going to have when we're in Atlanta for SEC football media days, with what's going on and the expectations of Hugh Freeze at Auburn, Brian Kelly in Baton Rouge, Kalen DeBoer coming off a 4-loss season, there's going to be a lot of storylines that we're going to have a lot of fun with come SEC.
Well, not only that,
meetings.
you're not even thinking about like a Mark Stoops in Kentucky.
How about Oklahoma, the pressure that Brent Venables is going to be? I mean, this is high-octane stuff here, not to mention the fact that Sam Pittman is sitting over there in Fayetteville.
This is totally setting up for a me and you wheelhouse football season.
Oh, yeah, big time. All right, we're here at Social Taco. Come on up and see us. We're located on the Taco Terrace. This is Jocks 94.5. It is 12:22, Jocks 94.5. Appreciate everybody joining us here on the Taco Terrace. We'll be here up until 2 o'clock. Come on by and see us. Molly is now busting out her Detroit Tigers jersey. One of our nice listeners gave that to you. That is awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Steve from Tuscaloosa. It fits perfectly. He told me it's a kid's extra large, but it's perfect.
No, it fits you
I
great.
love the length. The sleeve size is great on me.
That is the real deal.
It's a Riley Green jersey.
It's tackle twill.
Yes.
It's the new Nike engineered jersey. I'm talking like a uniform geek here, but that's a good looking jersey.
Yeah, I told him I don't think I'll ever be able to thank him enough. So thank you to Steve. I love it, and I'll wear it all the time. But coming up in just a few days, we have the NFL Draft, and this Thursday night, me and Pat, we will be live from Trim Tab Brewing for the NFL Draft Party. So come and join us from 6 until 8. Come by and get some great beer. Red Mountain Crawfish will be there, and Tub the Band will be there from 7 to 10 as well. So like I said, that is this Thursday night. Will Jalen Milroe be drafted in the first round, or will it be another Will Levis situation, as Pat thinks? We will have to wait and see. But like I said, that's this Thursday night at Trim Tab Brewing.
So we were just talking to Sean Fox from Ruston, Louisiana about LSU baseball, and I'm sitting here looking at Baseball America's Week 10 Top 25, and LSU comes in this week at number 4. Texas is 1, Clemson 2, North Carolina 3, Bayou Bengal Tigers at 4, Tennessee is 5, Oregon State at 6, Arkansas 7, Vandy 8, Georgia 9, Florida State comes in at number 10. Then you got Oklahoma, Auburn, University of California, Irvine, West Virginia, Troy, the Chanticleers, Western Kentucky, UCLA, Louisville at 19, Oregon at 20. Rounding out the top 25 according to Baseball America, Arizona, Ole Miss, TCU, Alabama at 24, Georgia Tech at 25. So Auburn comes in this week. They were a top 10 team last week, but they were swept. They're now at number 12. Bama, they had a tough weekend as well. They are at number 24. So if the SEC baseball season ended right now, it's 16 teams, single elimination. It's 6 days. It will be a double bye. The bracket's going to look a lot different than we're used to in the past, Landrum.
Yes.
So basically, if the season ended right now, you would have Alabama playing number 16 Missouri on Tuesday. A&M would play Florida on Tuesday. Auburn would face South Carolina. South Carolina would be the 15 seed, Auburn the 10 seed. And then Kentucky and Mississippi State, that would be the nightcap. And then what happens is that the higher-seeded teams, for instance, the Alabama-Missouri winner would play number 8 Oklahoma. Then if you win that game, then you've got to play number 1 Texas.
What Alabama, what seed would they be?
Alabama would be a 9.
Would be the 9. Mm-hmm. I'm just wondering, with their conference record right now, that's the same as Auburn, right? They're at 9-9. Mm-hmm. And with the head-to-head, do they use head-to-head as far as determining that? Because Auburn beat them 2 out of 3, but Alabama would be the higher-seeded team.
Yeah, and I wouldn't get all worked up on that because we've got.
Yeah. I was curious. But now this progressive bracket, this is going to make it.
Yeah, because like I said, so LSU would not be here until Friday.
Yeah.
Where in the past, they'd be playing on, Wednesday probably.
Yep.
Thursday at the latest.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're playing on Friday. So you have the 1 and the 4 seeds playing on Thursday, and then on Friday you would have the 2s and the 3s.
City of Hoover loves it.
Yeah, no doubt. So as of right now, Texas would be the 1 seed, Arkansas the 2, LSU 3, and Tennessee the 4.
Golly, you think A&M fans are still a little bit bitter about their coach leaving, taking some of their guys with them, and now you look at the team across the state and they're number 1?
And right now, Texas A&M would play Florida in the first round.
Oh, man. Florida.
That would be
Florida's gotten a little bit better, though. They're winning some games now.
And you got to wonder what's going to happen with Mississippi State. I know we don't talk a lot of SEC baseball until we get right around the tournament. But you just got to wonder what Mississippi State folks are thinking, because right now Mississippi State's 14th in a 16-team league.
It's so year to year. And I know it's like that in a lot of sports, but especially baseball. Look how bad Auburn was last year.
Very true.
And Butch Thompson said, we're going to go out, we're going to have to spend, we're going to have to get some guys that come in. They've totally flipped that thing around. Mississippi State, how many years removed from a national championship?
Nick Sim and Ole Miss went back-to-back.
I just think that's the new nature, Pat, of college baseball, maybe unless you're a Tennessee or a Texas, some of these other teams that, every now and then you'll find them there in the top tier of the SEC. Most years, middle of the pack, just by nature of how competitive it is. I think you're going to get that a lot. Now, it will be interesting to see once this house settlement is done, what that looks like. Instead of 11.7, if you're getting 32 scholarships but you have a roster reduction, how does that affect some of these programs?
Yeah, that's true. So SEC baseball will be here before you know it. 16 teams, all 16 will be in attendance here in Hoover. So we mentioned earlier that Madden, Nico's little brother, who originally committed to UCLA, then left on signing day for Arkansas. He went through spring practice with Arkansas. Matter of fact, he made his way up to the 3rd on the depth chart at the quarterback position for the University of Arkansas. Well, it was announced last night that he is now transferring to UCLA. And so Molly was just pointing out that Hunter Yurachek has just released a statement, and he did not mention Madden's name, but this is exactly what he's referring to.
Yeah, he released this just about 10 minutes ago, so this is still very new. And his statement says, I have spoken with the leadership team at Arkansas Edge and expressed my support in their pursuit to enforce their rights under any agreement violated by our student athletes moving forward. Arkansas Edge is their NIL, by the way.
Right.
We appreciate the Edge investment in our student athletes and acknowledge the enforcement of these agreements is vital in our new world of college athletics. We look forward to continued dialogue with all parties in resolving these matters.
Yeah, so Madden, they're coming after the money. You're in violation of your contract. I don't know how Auburn's going to work through a Chad Baker-Mazara, who signed an NIL deal, and what that means. I did tell Conrad I found it interesting yesterday as we were scrolling through the transfer portal and on 3. Chad Baker-Mazara was $217,000. Now his NIL valuation is over $1 million. Wow. Wow. Just kind of give you an idea of the fluidity. But according to this, he's still out there. And so not only with the baggage of you, I don't know if these other schools, if they really care if you have a signed NIL. There's a way to work that out, right? Where you just pay it back?
Very much so.
I would also assume that Chad Baker-Mazara is going to get more than the $1 million that he's valuated at right now.
What would you think, Conrad, right now, for somebody who needs, I'm
not going to be surprised if he gets $2 million to go somewhere. I think maybe 1.5 is closer, but I'm not going to be shocked if it's closer to 2.
Yeah, that's where we are.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
It's interesting that, and I have not had a chance to break down the audio yet, because I saw Deshaun Foster met with the media about an hour ago there in Los Angeles. And so he noted that quarterback Nico has to finish first at Tennessee before joining the team this summer there at UCLA. He says to be eligible, transfers have to finish classes. The same goes for Joey Aguilar. UCLA is on the quarter system, so final exams are June the 9th through the 13th. So Joey Aguilar, before he goes to Tennessee, will have to wrap up his coursework there in Westwood. And apparently Nico, I guess he'll be doing that remotely, I guess. I don't see Nico being in Knoxville, Tennessee going to class.
A lot of these guys do it remotely anyways now. We had quarters for half of my time in my career.
My entire college life was quarters.
I love the quarter system.
We did quarters. I did not do semesters. There's another reason why I could not graduate from UAB in 4 years, because, 4 quarters in a year.
Yep.
So not a lot of people went to summer school.
Well, the quarter system, you had a built-in break.
Mm-hmm. We had long break.
Long breaks, built-in breaks. But the drop day was earlier for me, in my case.
Yeah.
If you decided that you signed up for a class that you were either doomed to fail or you just weren't jiving because, let's just say, for instance, your math teacher spoke Russian.
That's problematic.
I knew that was a problem. Math is tough enough for me anyways.
Yes, and then you throw in a Russian instructor.
No, I'm not talking about basic math, like applicable everyday math, business math. I'm good with that.
You're talking about trig and
I'm talking about all that other crap
like
that you're not going to use.
Yeah.
Unless you're a scientist or doctor, architect. Okay, there's a lot of professions that use it. But.
All right, when we come back on three-man front, we'll dive in a little bit deeper on this Deshaun Foster stuff. We'll also do some Pat Ponders coming up. That's all next on three-man front. Welcome back to Three-Man Front. This is Jocks 94.5. Pat Smith, Molly Robinson, Landrum Roberts here on site at Social Taco. Conrad Van Order back in studio high atop Red Mountain. Here on Jocks 94.5, we appreciate everybody that has been able to come out and see us. Hastings just showed up. First time I've seen Hastings in a couple weeks.
Yep.
Good to see Hastings. And so you, too, can be a part of the fun. We'll be here up until 2 o'clock. We're just talking about Deshaun Foster, the head football coach of the UCLA Bruins. Well, he met with the media this morning, and he was asked about UCLA's relationship with the Iamaleava family.
Obviously, you had the relationship prior with the family. And then, I know back in December when, Madden decommitted and all that, was there any, mending of the fences that had to be done as you guys started, talking with Nico and all that?
I wouldn't say so. It was more of, just communicating, talking to each other, and just once he was in the portal, just going from there.
I really, really hope that he is a different individual when he is in the locker room.
He does not sound very enthusiastic today.
He is so daggum difficult
Let's have
to watch and listen to him do a press
contest in that setting. Who is more entertaining, Deshaun Foster or Bill Belichick?
Oh, Bill all day.
I would give it to Bill.
Chapel Bill.
I thought something had happened to the audio.
I did too. I had to turn it
Yeah.
on.
I thought we'd gone back to Big Ten Media Days.
No editing has been done there. This was all straight from Deshaun Foster's press conference.
Okay, so let's hear from Deshaun Foster again. Let's be brave here. Play another clip. He was asked about the expectations for UCLA with Nico.
And obviously, with all the news of the weekend, there's a lot of added attention, a lot of added expectations even. What do you tell your team about maybe embracing some of those and trying to take that challenge ahead on?
You want to be in conversations. You want to play big-time ball. You want to have people to, you want to have haters. You want to have, you want all of this stuff because that means that you're trending in the right direction. So if you want to play big-time ball, you can do that here at UCLA. I got a quarterback situation that's going to pan out for us, and we're just looking forward to it, When's the last time we had this many people here talking to us? You guys know what I'm saying? So this is a good buzz for us. And keeping the local kids here, big-time recruits, let them know that you don't have to go to certain conferences to be successful and make it to the NFL. You can do it right here in California.
I still say they will
Sounds
not
like a lot of fun.
I still say they will not fill up the Rose Bowl.
No.
Will they make a bowl game this year? Because last year they did not.
I think they can get 6-6.
Let's take a gander.
I mean, even back in the day when Terry Donahue had that thing going at UCLA, I mean, there weren't 95,000 people showing up to football games.
When Jim Orr was there, Jim Orr Jr. was there, they weren't terrible.
I was about to say, when Josh Rosen was there and he was, the next greatest thing at the quarterback position, I don't remember UCLA being the biggest draw in college football.
All right, let's project out really quickly. I'm going to give you guys the schedule. You get Utah at home, start the season.
I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll give them a win.
At Dan Mullen and UNLV.
Win.
Mm-hmm.
Versus New Mexico.
Win.
At Northwestern. Pretty.
Loss.
Versus Penn State.
Loss.
At Michigan State.
Loss.
Versus Maryland.
Win.
At Indiana.
Loss.
Versus Nebraska.
Loss.
Win.
No, Pat.
Come
on.
At Ohio State.
Loss.
Versus Washington.
Win.
At your rival.
Loss. Did you keep up with that?
No.
I think we're at 6-6.
I think we're at 6-6.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Okay, so
started off 3-0, finished 3-9 or 3-6.
So the biggest crowds they're going to have in the Rose Bowl is going to be Penn State, Nebraska, and who's the other one that you?
Washington, and then Maryland's also there.
Yeah, that won't draw flies.
No, they won't. But Nebraska.
No, Nebraska will. Nebraska and Penn State will fill it up.
Yeah.
It will be overwhelmingly Nebraska and Penn State fans.
Absolutely.
When is the Nebraska game?
November 8th.
Okay. And Penn State's earlier, right?
Yeah, October 4th.
October 4th. Okay. It will already be cold in both Pennsylvania and Nebraska, so a lot of folks will be.
Oh, yeah. It was pretty cold last year we went to L.A.
We'll be heading west. Let's go to the phones. 1-800-239-WJOX. Cowboy wants to chime in. What's up, Cowboy? How you doing?
How you doing there? You doing all right? Y'all
We are doing
socializing with the
fantastic. Yes, we are socializing with all the folks here at Social Taco.
Cool. Is Joe DeLeonard there?
Joe said yesterday that he was going to try to swing by if he got some stuff done. So hopefully we'll see Joe here in a little bit. He is not here yet.
I got you. Well, I called to talk about this, and then you guys mentioned it before the break. Arkansas recruited Maiden Iamaleava, did everything possible.
Iamaleava? Is that what you're saying?
Iamaleava, yeah.
I like the way he said it.
That's okay. I understand what you meant.
I can say Tua Tagovailoa. I just don't say that name enough to get it down.
Well, he beat your team. That's why you can't say it. It's like saying
Nico
Beetlejuice 3 times. You don't want to say Iamaleava 3 times.
Iamaleava.
So
okay.
you get it.
So, he's third string at Arkansas. And that's a pretty good deal with Bobby Petrino as as your offensive coordinator. I'd take Bobby Petrino offensively minded any day of the week over anything that Sean Foster could put out there. That was a lazy hire by UCLA when it happened. He will be fired. And so, I think Arkansas is due compensation because they did everything they were supposed to do for that kid. And then he's just going to up and leave because Daddy says, you coming back out here to sit in my lap.
Okay.
Daddy Iamaleava, he needs to pay for his sins.
I love it. He's saying his name different every single time he's bringing it up.
Well, Big Daddy Bling, that's what you need to call him. I mean,
Nick's a big fella.
Yeah, the Tennessee games last year, I mean, he's a show in the stands more than his son is on the field.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I got sick and tired of seeing him during the cutaways during the Alabama game. It was just like every other second. It was like, and don't forget, his son was stinking it up pretty good in the first half against Alabama.
Yeah.
They kept the shots going of Nick in the stands, helping some underprivileged kids.
Go and look at all the SEC games that Nico was in. He didn't flourish in really any of them.
Nico, before Tennessee paid him the $7 million NIL deal in March of 2022, he was trending to go to Alabama through the Tonga-Valola connection and everything. Go back and look at your Tighter Insider. You can ask Rodney Orr about all that. It was, it was prevalent on his board that Nico was trending Alabama. And then here comes Jimmy Haslett and his pilot truck stops with that money for Nico, and there he was in Tennessee. And then Daddy Bling got him a big cars with spinners and all that posting out. So,
did Nico have spinners in Knoxville?
I'm sure he did. I mean, his daddy, they had some big Hummer with some deal I saw a year or two ago, with all blinged up and everything. And they kind of had their entourage, yeah.
So in conference play last year for Nico,
his best game was against Vanderbilt. Conference play.
What do you think his average was, yardage, passing, in conference play?
In conference play, 200 yards.
222?
Yeah.
239 in non-conference games.
He didn't light it up.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Against ranked opponents, 191 yards.
Ooh.
Unranked, 240 yards passing.
Versus Georgia, no touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah.
Mississippi State, he was 8 of 13, threw for 2 touchdowns.
He played frail. The only game he really looked good in conference, like you guys just said, was Vanderbilt. He kind of seized the day up there that day.
In the month of October, he threw for 194 yards on average in the month of October, and that includes a game against Alabama.
That's very pedestrian for the SEC.
Well, I mean, when their offense, they had the number 1 rushing attack in the SEC last year. Tennessee did. But they were the 9th best offense. And Nico was your quarterback. So I think there was a reason why Tennessee said, we're not going to pay you $4 million. Matter of fact, you're going to be fortunate if we're going to pay you the $2.2 million you made last year.
Yeah. Well, I heard that the Virginia Tech quarterback could have been trending Tennessee, but I hadn't heard any of that last few days. Now, they offered the TCU guy, and he told them he liked Fort Worth, Texas better than Knoxville.
Yeah, he wanted to live in your backyard. He wanted to stay there in Texas.
Yeah. But, hey, I'll say this and I'll let you guys go, I guess. But, kudos to Hunter Yarchek with what you all read his statement. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, and you're going to have more people do that. And again, I think Auburn is taking care of their business behind closed doors, but I would not be – I mean, if Auburn came out and John Cohen released the same statement – not calling Baker Mazzara out, but just saying in general, that, hey, listen, people have got to live up to, what you sign your name to. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Hey, Cowboy, thank you for the call. Enjoy your afternoon. Appreciate it. Cowboy giving us a call from the Dallas Metroplex. Man, he's good.
What was your favorite way that he pronounced Nico's last name?
I know he kind of shortened it to just like Leva.
I thought the next one we were going to get
just
was
said Leva.
That was funny.
Oil of LA.
Yeah, that was good. More three-man front. We're live at Social Taco. This is Jocks 94.5.
.1251, welcome back. We're inside of Social Taco. Steve from Tuscaloosa came all the way from Tuscaloosa. It's his birthday. He's wearing his Braves gear. He's headed over to watch the Braves and the Cardinals tonight, and it's Chipper Jones All-Star bobblehead night, which is a big deal.
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. But we appreciate Steve. Happy birthday to him and safe travels to the ATL. You can hear the Braves all season long right here on Jocks 94.5 and our family of stations. Speaking of family, you're going to feel like family, second-generation masonry. Secondgenerationmasonry.com. That's the website. Residential and commercial construction, that's what they specialize in. But now with the warmer weather, doing more stuff outside, entertaining family, friends. Well, you can update your outside living area and add some curb appeal with second-generation masonry. Whether it's custom driveways, stonework you need done, outdoor kitchen, those are very trendy right now. Outdoor fireplaces, fire pits, they can handle it all. Check them out, secondgenerationmasonry.com. Get the free quote today, and as always, tell them Landrum from Three Man Front sent you.
Uh-oh. There you have it.
There it is. Just when you thought the Masters had come and gone, there is that lovely music.
Let's go to number 17,
Sounds like
where Hastings,
King David, playing his lyre,
joins us on number 17. Hastings, what do you see?
Right now, I see one of the best Jim Nantz impersonations I think I've heard in a while. That was
you're too kind, friend.
Very, very soft, very spot on. Told Pat I may try Jim Nantz. I'm glad he nailed it down for us.
This is what wife gets with pillow talk. Yeah.
Wow!
I just transitioned.
Didn't really need to know that.
Well,
All right.
Pillow talk doesn't have to be dirty.
That's right. That's right.
Just saying I love you, and
I'm just
my back hurts. Can you help me out
I'm just
of
going to
bed?
give you a heads up. I mean, if you were in the country club of Augusta like I was last weekend, then you probably wouldn't have been allowed to say something like that.
It's just got to contain yourself.
Hastings, I've been there many times.
Please.
Were you there last week?
I was.
Yes, he was
Good
there.
for
That's
you.
why that's why we have him on now.
Totally. Did you wear golf shoes?
Did not wear my
you.
golf sneaks.
Okay, yeah.
That is, if I were playing, which I don't. If you guys have y'all ever been to the course?
He has. I have not.
You've seen it, which I would shoot terribly. When you're actually at the course, it's insane because you look at the course and you're like, it's pretty wide open. This shouldn't be that hard. And then you see the undulation of the greens and just the topography of the landscape of the course.
You just said undulation and topography.
All in one sentence.
Wow.
Hey, I'm telling you.
It's pretty big for an Alabama graduate.
Yeah. Hey, like I said, no, for real.
That's why President Trump has agreed.
The only
to
reason
come
I said that is I heard him talking about it on the course. It actually had I just used it. I just
you didn't know what those words meant.
The right
No, but you're right
standpoint.
about the undulation and the topography.
Yes.
Yeah, it's insane. And especially the way the tournament played out, it was one of those things where you were hoping for an exciting week. There was a lot of build-up with Rory McIlroy and a lot of pressure on his shoulders. But if you had paid attention to golf on the other spectrum, on the lip spectrum, I think something else that you realized is, hey, you had some players like Bryson who had been playing really, really well, and Rahm, who was a little banged up last year, was playing well. So when you looked at the starter box and the starting times for everybody, you knew you were going to get some good groups throughout the day. And so, you had the tee off, and then you kick things off in the morning. And when it starts out, everybody kind of runs in. They get their spot where they want to place their chairs and everything, which is a big deal.
So how early did you guys get to the course?
So we were at the course.
What day did you go?
So we went Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
We were at the course probably around, I would say 6. We got up around 4:45.
Oh, wow.
Got ready, and then they have parking there. Just kind of depends on where you funnel in on the parking side. And then we were there before the gates opened. So there was a pretty long line. Now, I will say this. That is one of the most efficient lines that I have seen people move through. But it's a big deal because you can't run at the Masters. You can't run at Augusta.
Right. But if you speed walk, they will not say a word.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So great time at the Masters. It was a lot of fun. We were able to see a lot of the really great golfers. The way the days lined up actually ended up being fantastic from start to finish. Camped out at some holes, had some good walk-arounds, but fantastic time overall.
We did the same thing you guys did. We got the Masters folding chairs, no armrest, obviously.
Yep.
We put them behind 16, which is the skip hole, and posted up and sat next to some LSU fans who were actually there, and we ended up having a blast.
Yeah, I was actually at the hole that Rory got on the par 5 where he got that birdie that kind of got him back into contention.
Yeah, very nice.
That was pretty insane.
That is Hastings, our Augusta National correspondent, right here on Jocks 94.5.
You look so Augusta, too.
Thanks
Does he
for
not?
having me.
Does he not? Look at the
Appreciate
part
this,
with the
guys.
hair.
I do what I can.
More three-man front. We're live at Social Taco. This is Jocks 94.5. It is 1 o'clock. It's always a fun time here at Social Taco. Taco Tuesday. Great audience, great crowd. Always appreciate folks driving up from Tuscaloosa, folks driving up from Chilton County.
Chilton County, the lake.
Yep, coming by to see us. The crowd continues to swell. Gringo just arrived. Good to see Gringo under the circumstances, but always great to have Hastings stop by and have a bite or two with us. BB had to leave early, but she's over there doing her First Lady duties.
Larry was here with us, start things out.
Yep, sure was.
Didn't see Officer Walt. He might have gotten a call. I saw him before he came in. He was going to try to be here.
Yeah, he was going to try to handle some security issues that we've had up here.
He's protecting and serving.
Yeah,
what is this group? Look at this big group out here. What is going on?
What is going on there, Molly? Molly, I need to know what's happening.
You're our correspondent. They look like they're coming in.
They're coming here?
Are they all? That's a big group.
I'm
Are
telling
all
you,
of them coming here?
Did a tour bus just drop them off?
I think
They
so.
look really young, like
they are
high school.
very, very young.
I think they're coming in to see Landrum.
No, they're not.
Landrum,
No.
your fan club is here.
Molly, go down there and ask them what they're doing.
I mean, I could probably fit in.
Can you do a live report?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because Molly looks like she's 14.
Yeah.
You could just go get on the bus with them.
Oh, they're not coming in. Just
Oh.
kidding. They turned.
Then what are they doing?
I don't know.
I don't know.
They
Maybe
were
it was like
listening
a
to
field
Three Man
trip.
Front. They heard, Landrum's here. Crap, we got to turn tail and get out of here.
We gotta
I don't
leave.
think that was the case. I think they were taking a picture probably out in front of City Hall.
Okay.
Must be.
Maybe it was a civics lesson. Maybe they had gone in and learned about city government.
It might be future business leaders of America.
That's true. Very much so.
So this is the time of the school year where, if you leave after 12, nobody really cares.
Nobody's keeping attendance,
Nah,
right? Nobody's really.
It's kind of like the transfer portal. You leave at this time, nobody's really. They just want their money back.
Yeah, no one's paying attention to that whatsoever. We are live here at Social Taco. We'll be here until 2 o'clock. And so I mentioned earlier in the show that the CFP board, they are meeting in Dallas for the next 3 days. And some news just came out, Molly, just a few moments ago in regards to an announcement for this upcoming year and the playoff dates.
Yeah, so the playoff and ESPN, they've announced the dates, the kick times, and some of the broadcast information for the quarterfinal, the semifinal, and the national championship game. So the quarterfinal, the Cotton Bowl, will be on Wednesday, December 31st. That game's at 6:30 our time here in Central Time. The Orange Bowl will be Thursday, January 1st at noon Eastern Time. The Rose Bowl will also be January 1st at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. And then, of course, the Sugar Bowl also on the 1st, but that one's at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. The semifinals, so that's the Fiesta Bowl and the Peach Bowl. The Fiesta Bowl will be Thursday, January 8th. That's at 7:30 Eastern. And then the Peach Bowl will be Friday, January 9th, also at 7:30 Eastern. And then the National Championship game will be on Monday, January 19th at 7:30 Eastern Time in Miami.
So you've got one game on New Year's Eve. You'll have a triple header on New Year's Day. And then the national semifinals will be staggered on a Thursday and Friday. And the national championship, as it's been customary, will be on a Monday night. So that's a little bit of news that has been coming out of Dallas, Texas. So we'll see if there's anything new that is brewing on the Isle of, okay, we're going to change the format, we're going to change the seating, all those type things will be determined, I suppose, either in the next couple of days or we'll kick the can down the road.
Yeah, let's jump to 16 teams and let's just go straight seating and how they're ranked with the college football playoff. Why was this so hard for them to figure out in the beginning, Pat?
I don't know why it's taken them this long.
How did they see that this would become problematic, or not see that this would become an issue? A lot of text rolling in. 205-834-9450. We will take you there now. And Sky back on Cheddar Bacon Lasagna, otherwise known as Chad Baker Mazzara. How much of CBM's NIL funds will be allocated for therapy for that head case? Hopefully if he's having any issues, he gets them tended to. How long till Power 5 schools have a draft for portal players and high school kids? It's actually a really good idea. I don't know about the high school kids, but the portal players, that'd be really cool. Corpses have more stamina than Deshaun Foster. Ow. In case you missed a invigorating soundbite or two from Deshaun Foster, UCLA's head coach.
That was motivation.
A lot of motivation. I was in civil engineering at the University of Alabama. My physics professor was Chinese. The only word I ever understood that he said was Zeta, and I think that meant theta. Going back to me and having
a Russian math teacher?
Yes. Nico Iamaleava, thank you very much for that. Johnny said that caller, I'm not sure which one he was talking about, sounds just like Brett Norsworthy, the Southern gentleman.
That might have been Cowboy.
Could have been. I have no idea what that means.
I always love those.
And Brad wanted to know, are y'all talking to Don Don's voice doppelganger currently? That was back when we had Hastings on, so I don't know if he was. No, Don Don is definitely. Well, he was here. Is he still here?
Oh, yeah. Where'd he go?
He might be down talking to the children.
Oh, he could be.
Hey! Y'all get back over here.
That hurt your voice.
I got tacos. Pizza Larry says, is Coach Foster quarterback whisperer?
Yeah.
I hope
he's
so.
definitely a whisperer, that's for sure.
They went through a lot of trouble to get this one. And what's the odds of Nico transferring again, Kevin asked.
I would say they're pretty good.
Probably pretty good.
Yeah.
Keep them coming in, 205-834-9450.
You know, now's the time to check out Courtesy GMC out in Trussville, the very best in inventory and services found right off of I-459 exit 32 at Courtesy GMC. Right now, you can save up to $14,500 off on a brand new Sierra 1500 truck. Hey, if you're in the market for an EV, how about a 2024 GMC Hummer EV or a Sierra EV model? How about 0% APR for 60 months for well-qualified buyers? They're at Courtesy GMC. They got the deal for you. The inventory at Courtesy is outstanding with plenty of models to choose from like Yukons, Acadias, Terrains, trucks like the Sierra and the Canyon. And their pre-owned inventory is the deepest you're going to find anywhere in central Alabama. Courtesy will beat any deal on a new GMC. They're the lowest priced dealer in the state of Alabama. You don't need to go anywhere to buy a brand new GMC except they're in Trussville at Courtesy GMC. Compare dealerships. They encourage it. No one is going to beat what Courtesy GMC can deliver in savings. Go see them today off of I-459 exit 32 in Trussville or check them out on their inventory online at courtesybirmingham.com. Well, each and every day they bring us Pat Ponders. Let's do it. 5 questions brought to you by Courtesy GMC. Go online, courtesybirmingham.com, compare and save. That's Courtesy GMC in Trussville. Question number 1. If you're one of the last 9 picks of this week's NFL draft, you're going to earn a 4-year contract worth $4.29 million. Or do the math, even me and Lantern can figure this out, divide by 4. You're making over $1 million a season if you're drafted. What percent of SEC quarterbacks do you believe will make at least $1 million at their school this season? Not asking for the names, just a percentage of SEC quarterbacks will make over $1 million in NIL.
I'll go 80%.
Okay. So it's usually probably what, the most expensive on the roster on your football team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you go higher or lower on that, Molly?
Honestly, I was going to go like 85, 90.
So Molly goes higher. Conrad, you going higher than Molly's 90 or lower than Landrum's 80?
I'm trying to think. I mean, honestly, off the top of my head, and this is going to come off as disrespectful, so I'm sorry. I think everyone outside of Mississippi State's quarterback is probably going to make over $1 million this year. So I would say I would be more in line with Molly. I'd say 90% or even more.
Wait a minute. So who did Kentucky get?
Let's see. Who did
All right, so because I was
so you
sitting
think
there,
Kentucky, Mississippi State?
I think
would
Mississippi
not pay $1 million?
State, Kentucky, These are the ones that I would question.
Oh, you know who Kentucky's quarterback is. Zach Calzada, baby.
Yeah, he ain't getting $1 million.
You don't think so?
No.
To save money for the basketball NIL? From Odi Abate and a backup guard at Florida?
You don't think he's $1 million quarterback, do you? And then Missouri.
I think the market.
Who's slinging it for Missouri this year?
That would be actually. I take it back. I forgot that Mississippi State has Blake Shapen. He honestly might be making over $1 million.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. They got Shapen.
and Missouri's definitely paying $1 million. They have the backup from Penn State, Pribula. So they're definitely paying big money for him. So okay, I changed. My answer is the same, but I think Kentucky.
So Molly, you said 90.
Yeah, I think most of them.
I think Kentucky might be the only one not paying 7 figures.
Yeah.
So isn't that crazy to think if you're one of the last 9 players drafted in the NFL draft, you will make $4.29 million on a 4-year contract?
And this is not the first round. This is the 7th round. Like literally,
this is the last 9 picks of the draft. Like you were technically, I was drafted in the NFL.
You're Brock Purdy.
Yes. Yeah. $4.29 million.
That's awesome.
4-year deal. And Nico wanted $4 million just for 1 season in Knoxville.
What would you rather do? Would you rather play for $1 million, all the same, hold a clipboard in the NFL, or play one final year of college football?
I would play one final year of college football.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would probably disagree with that.
No, I think a lot of people would say, no, I'm done. Yeah. Why even?
Because to say that you played for the Shield, I mean, that goes along.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what are the chances those guys are going to?
Just like I've known a lot of people that have had a cup of coffee in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
And they have used that to open up hitting facilities and pitching camps and fleece the youth of America like you wouldn't believe.
Fleece the youth of America.
And my bank account can show the thousands of dollars that I paid for hitting lessons.
So that got personal for you.
It got real personal, like quickly. All right, question number 2. Who will throw more touchdowns this upcoming season, Nico for UCLA or Aguilar for Tennessee?
Aguilar.
I think Aguilar, too, with who he has around him.
No, I'm going to say the Big Ten. Just based on that schedule that I looked at, I think it's going to be Nico.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Well, he's going to load up in the first 3 games like he did last year for Tennessee, and then be poo-poo the rest of the way.
Taper off.
Yeah.
Yep.
No Kennesaw
Change
State
the
on
scenery.
UCLA schedule, though.
Low talker as coach. Brothers there. You're in the compound.
All right, so you're going Nico, and you guys are going
Aguilar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a lean on that one, Pat?
I say Aguilar. And the reason why is because of Heupel's offense.
Mm-hmm.
Big Nick's not going to like that.
Because UCLA's got Neuheisel's son, right? Is he the quarterback coach or is he the OC?
Oh, that's the one we were talking about the other day. That
it is scary. If you have not seen Rick Neuheisel's son, watch him at a press conference, and oh my goodness, it's as freaky as those twins in that press conference that we saw yesterday.
The Cavenders?
No,
the twins doing the news interview,
the Australian interview.
Did you not see that, Landrum?
I felt like I was watching The Shining.
It was very spooky.
So creepy.
I've never seen 2 people talk at the exact same time.
Yeah, Aguilar, let's say last year, 23 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. I mean, that guy threw 23 touchdowns in Big Ten play. Nico had 19 touchdowns in SEC play.
All right, next question. Yesterday, Eagles center Cam Jurgens agreed to a 4-year contract extension. The deal is worth $68 million, and it includes $39 million guaranteed. He said his first big purchase after signing the contract extension will be a TSA pre-check.
Attaboy, Jergy.
Which is a $78 cost.
Go Big Red.
Love it.
So what would be your first purchase if you signed a $68 million contract?
First of all, shout out Beatrice, Nebraska. That's where he's from. Me, personally, pay off any and all debt.
Okay.
Student loans, pay off parents' house.
I thought Nebraska paid you to go there.
I got some scholarship, but I still had to pay some of my own. But yeah, any and all
I ought
debt.
to be paying you now the way you do advertisements for them
Well,
every single
they
day.
should, but I'm still working on my royalty check.
By the way, I meant Sunbelt, not Big Ten.
We knew what you meant.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, just before the text came in. What?
Covering its backside.
$68 million.
$68 million. Are you going to go get a TSA pre-check for $78? Is that the first thing you're going to do with $68 million?
I've already got TSA pre-check. I'm going to go get that star ID.
Yeah, we need to
You
do
need
that
to,
too.
yeah. I already got mine.
You need to tell me how I need to do it.
Well, if anybody needs it, it's you, because you're on a plane every weekend.
Yeah.
Can't hide money, Landrum.
I know.
I've had mine since like 2020. I got mine a long time ago.
You probably had to go to Ireland, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'll go buy I'll buy a house on the coast.
Okay.
Gulf Coast.
All right.
Yep.
Conrad?
Yeah, definitely buying a house because, I think I've shared before that Paige and I are looking to get our own house here soon. So, yeah, I'd go buy me a nice fancy house right next to old Paul Feinberg.
Neighbors.
Pat, you can come and hang out whenever you want.
I appreciate that because Paul has told me I'm not allowed on his property. So
that would be good, too. You own one of those homes. You just pick your bathroom that you want to pee in that day.
Well, that's right. We need
Conrad.
enough so that Paige has one for herself and I have 7, so one for every day of the
Yep.
week, and then I don't have to clean it every day.
Conrad, could you at least rotate?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you know that Kim
scrub that.
Jurgens has his own beef jerky company?
No, I did not.
It's called beef jerky.
You're telling me a whole lot more that when I woke up this morning that I did not realize.
Well, now you know.
That I was going to hear the words. What is it? Beatrice, Nebraska.
It looks like it's Beatrice. It's Beatrice, but it looks like Beatrice.
Okay.
Yes.
But it's Beatrice.
Yes.
It's kind of like when you misspoke and said
And
Helena
Helena. Yes.
instead of Helena. Remember those days?
I do remember those days.
Those fun times.
But yeah, look, beef jerky.
Yeah.
It's this beef jerky company.
Remember those days, Landrum? How much they've all grown up now? All right, next question. Cam Newton told Dan Patrick last week he could start in the NFL today over any quarterback not part of the top tier of the league. Basically, he said, Mahomes, Allen, or Jackson. But anybody else, he could start in today's NFL. Meanwhile, Colin Kaepernick's wife told media that her husband still wants to play in the NFL, and he is training daily. If either one had one more chance to play in the NFL, who would be more successful, Cam Newton or Colin Kaepernick?
I'm going to go Cam Newton.
Man, this one's hurting Molly. She's like physically sick over here.
I mean, I guess Cam Newton.
Cam, I thought at his peak in the NFL, he was.
Look at FSU Dave. He's getting it on delay. He's getting physically
he was
sick
better.
too.
I think that Colin Kaepernick has been too far removed.
I think he is.
Hey, let me ask the group.
Hey, quick question. Colin Kaepernick or Cam Newton? If they got a chance in the NFL today, who's more successful? Cam.
Everyone says Cam Newton.
There you go.
Well, that
There
ruins
is.
it. See, I've been trying to come up with an argument for Kaepernick just for
I couldn't
fun,
do
but I
it.
can't do it. I literally can't come up with one.
Ask the same question, but replace Colin Kaepernick with Tom Brady.
I think we know that answer.
Yeah, that's easy.
What about Andrew Luck?
Well, he was at Stanford practice. Did you see him?
He was, yeah.
He was running plays at
I was
Stanford.
about to say, give me Andrew Luck over anybody else. He's like 30 still.
What about Drew Brees?
Nah, his arm's gone.
Is it gone?
Yeah, he lost
He
it.
can still hand on. How about our crowd?
Yeah.
That was great.
That was great, yeah. Good job, everybody.
Yeah, good job, crowd.
Good job,
Don
guys.
paid them all off to say Cam,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
that was nice. That was good.
That's good.
All right, final question.
Don's like, what do we do? What did we do?
No.
No.
Be quiet. All right, fifth and final question. UConn basketball star Paige Buckner's hometown of Hopkins, Minnesota is renaming itself after the number 1 pick of the 2025 WNBA draft on May 16th to honor her professional debut. So the question is, would you prefer your hometown to rename the city for one day in your honor or a street permanently named after you?
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you give us the name of the player again?
Yeah,
I don't
what-
know. I don't know. who
What did
you're
I say, Becker?
You said,
Paige
didn't you
Becker?
say Buckner?
You say Paige Buckners.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Becker.
okay.
I meant Becker. Sorry.
I had a good little giggle.
Yeah, no. Me and Molly were laughing at that.
Who's Paige Buckner?
Tyler Buckner's sister.
I guess so. Yeah.
Oh.
No, that's not her name.
I don't know what her name is.
Landry would know.
No, she played beach volleyball for Cal.
Oh.
It's Brooke Buckner.
Well, there you go.
There you
Wait.
go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not
No,
know
I
that.
didn't know that.
So which do you want? You want the city renamed in your honor for one day, or do you want a street permanently named for you?
Ooh. I mean, there's good and bad that comes with the street. Kids going out and having fun with your name. Graffiti. Vandalism. I think though the street name.
You take the street?
I'd
Yeah.
probably go street because it's always there, and I would want a replica street sign.
Take a ride on Landrum Roberts Lane.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, for GPS to like be calling it out.
Yes, that'd be so cool. And for the city, it's just one day.
Whose name on the show would GPS have the most trouble with? Would it be Conrad's?
Oh yeah.
Because it's Van Order?
Yeah, they're thinking you're like in
People
the
can never
Netherlands.
get my name right. Yeah.
Is your name Dutch, or is it German, or is it Belgium? What is it?
It's German.
You know, with all the technology that we have, if you're going, you type in an address in Mobile, why does it continue to say mobile?
I don't know.
I mean, get it right.
Very odd. All right, that's today's Pat Ponders, brought to you by Courtesy GMC and trustful online inventory at courtesybirmingham.com.
We continue live from Social Taco here in Homewood. Come and join us. We're broadcast until 2 o'clock, but right after that, 3 to 6, half off happy hour. Come and join us and a lot of our friends. Three-Man Front continues on Jocks 94.5.
It is 1:25, Jocks 94.5. We're live at Social Taco. Good to see Gringo here in attendance. Hastings, FSU Dave. He was just over here griping and complaining about Ferguson. Conrad was almost deathly ill when Ferguson transferred from Alabama to Florida State and just did not live up to that expectation there in Tallahassee. I know that breaks
we were talking about
Conrad's heart.
Terrence Ferguson?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one was...
That was bad. I remember you had to take a day off.
You know, I'm trying to think the last Alabama player that transferred that I was really distraught about. I think it would still be Caleb Downs. Maybe there's somebody else I'm forgetting, but this year's been much easier for me to handle.
Yeah, so far it's been
quite good.
Yeah, there's been no problem at all. I was just showing Molly this is a story that just continues throughout college football. So there's a wide receiver. I'm not saying anybody unless you're a Purdue football fan or maybe a Tennessee football fan, you would know who I'm referring to. But it's a Purdue wide receiver. His name is Nathan Lecoq, and he entered the NCAA transfer portal. He is a former four-star who transferred from Tennessee in the winter. So he went from Tennessee to Purdue in the winter portal, and now in the spring portal, he's out. Now he's leaving Purdue. So the question is, what did you think you were going to get from Purdue when you went there?
Well, it's because they brought in Nitro Tuggle from Georgia over the weekend, so he saw the writing on the wall. He said, I got to get out of here.
Guess so. Very interesting indeed to see what happens. Tomorrow, we're going to spend a good bit of time talking about the NFL draft. Some of our guests tomorrow, we'll talk to Gentry Estes from the Tennessee. He covers the Tennessee Titans. The Titans called Cam Ward yesterday and said, hey, we're picking you first. Get ready. Get ready for your moment. So we'll talk to Gentry Estes about the Titans and how they're going to try to move forward. Also, J.P. Shadrick from the Jacksonville Jags. He'll be one of our featured guests as well, talking NFL draft and see what the Jags are going to do. A lot of rumors about they might try to trade up and do some things. So all of that. And our regulars, Brian Edwards, Skip Holtz, his weekly visit, talking about the 3-1 Birmingham Stallions. So already a jam-packed show ready for you tomorrow.
Well, spring weather in Alabama can be really unpredictable, so that's why you need the reliability of a Trane, voted America's most trusted HVAC brand, and right now you can receive up to a 10-year warranty on parts and labor on select Trane home comfort systems. So to find out more, go and visit Trane.com.
So earlier in the show, we told you that Syracuse Ford transfer Chance Westry, he has signed with UAB, a former top 40 overall recruit who began his career down at Auburn. He will now play on the south side. Also, and Molly, I'm going to let you pronounce his name, UAB men's basketball coach Andy Kennedy announced the signing of Brazilian center.
Oh, I forgot it. I had it pulled up earlier. Oa Deshaga?
So it's Deshaga.
I think so. I listened to him say it earlier. I found the video of him actually saying his name.
And you say his first name is?
Oa? Hoa?
Okay.
I don't remember.
Well, the good news
I'll have
is
to look it
Andy
back up
Kennedy is
again.
calling him JV.
JV for UAB.
And for the Green and Gold Report, he'll be known
JV.
forevermore as JV.
Why not?
He's a big physical post player for UAB. He's 6'10". He averaged 6.1 points, 6.5 rebounds, while shooting 54% from the field from Indian Hills Community College there in the state of Kansas. So UAB adding a couple guys to their roster. Meanwhile, Alabama, they're waiting Cedric Coward to see what he's going to do. The 6'6 guard from Washington State averaged 18 points a game. He shot 40% from the arc. For the Cougars, he has narrowed his two schools down to Alabama and Duke. So we'll see what happens with those two. So that's your transfer portal news on this Tuesday. More three-man front. We're live at Social Taco. We'd love to hear from you. The Courtesy GMC text line we will get to, along with your tweets and calls, next on Three-Man Front.
Welcome back in the Tuesday edition of 3 Man Front Live from the Taco Terrace here at Social Taco. We've had a fun group. We've got some new folks that have come and joined us. You can join us every Tuesday. The doors open at 11 o'clock. We're right next to City Hall in the square in Homewood. Social Taco.bar for more information. We've got Major League Baseball tonight. Of course, you can cast in on the basketball playoffs if you wish, and you can do all of this with Prize Picks. Don't miss your last chance to add favorite players from the court to your Prize Picks lineup, whether it's points, rebounds, assists. You can take your pick, more or less, for your shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash today. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. You can join millions of users and sign up today. The way you do that, you download the Prize Picks app, fill out your information, you enter promo code WJOX, and after your first $5 play, win or lose, they're going to kick $50 instantly back to your account to incentivize you to play more. That's right. Download the app today, Prize Picks, fill out your information, set up your account, your first $5 play. After you enter promo code WJOX, win or lose, you get $50 instantly back to your account. It's really simple. Tonight, I'm going Major League Baseball. I'm going to stay away from the Cardinals and the Braves. I am going to go Chris Bassett, pitcher for the Blue Jays. Conrad, he's taking on the Houston Astros. I liked what I saw from Bassett as he took on the Braves. 5 strikeouts, more or less. I think I'm going to go more. I think Chris Bassett has more than 5 strikeouts. Do you agree? Disagree?
No, I agree. No trash cans in the Astros dugout. So, yeah, more strikeouts for Bassett.
All right, the next one is going to be Cincinnati's Ellie De La Cruz as they take on Miami. They're in Miami. They take on the Marlins. 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBI. Any combination over 1.5, more or less. I'm going to go more.
Yeah, no, he's one of the most exciting players in baseball, and he's been playing well here early on in the season. So, yeah, more. I
did miss out yesterday on Nick Castellanos because I had the same deal, and we know the tragic passing of Pope Francis and the unfortunate events that have happened during Nick Castellanos' career where he has flourished in those particular games. Last night he was 0 for 4, so I lost out on that one. I got the other one right, but you got to get 2 or more correct to win. You can win as well. Prize Picks. Download the app today, and don't forget promo code WJOX. So you feeling pretty good?
Go ahead. Sorry, I was just going to say, if you missed it last night, I guess it was because nothing was going on with Castellanos, but did you see during the broadcast where they spent a good minute watching Nick Castellanos eat an Uncrustable in the dugout, and they commentated over it?
No.
Yeah, you should go check it out. It's on social media floating around. But yeah, since he didn't have a good day at the plate, they gave us the play-by-play of him eating the PB&J.
The text line is open, 205-834-9450. In just a few, Justin apparently liked my Don Impersonation.
It is really good.
Yeah, thank you.
Pretty accurate.
Scary good.
Yeah.
Ranger B says that impression nearly put me in the ditch. Glad you said nearly.
Hope you're okay.
Didn't. Yeah. Going back to names of streets, and then the GPS still says mobile instead of mobile. Michael says, I can hear the GPS now. Turn right on Waffle Stomper Way.
Hey.
It's got a nice ring to it.
It does have a nice ring to it.
Well, and the good thing about my hometown is Hayden's pretty small, so there's not a ton of roads. So it'd be a pretty prominent road because we've only got so many options up there.
This individual says, at least you don't live in Dothan.
That's funny.
Ken says, Travis Hunter, Collins Hill versus Caleb Downs, Mill Creek, 2 future first-round draft picks, both played both ways versus each other in high school. ATL football is top 5 in the country. It's pretty strong. And, yes, it is talent-rich in that area. Johnny, I'm glad you enjoyed the impersonation. I don't know if Don's even heard it.
You've gotten your Jim Nance is excellent. Your Don's good. Your Belichick's really good.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you just saying, Landrum.
You do have some good voices.
You have a fallback if this radio thing doesn't work out for you.
Man. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, I think.
No, that is. I mean that in a good way.
Let me check my email. Make sure it still works.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the conversation the suit and I just had in the hallway.
No. I thought about this earlier. Alan says, I think Nico's father is turning into LeVar Ball.
Okay, so I have heard multiple people make that comparison, and now, where did Lonzo Ball play? UCLA.
Yeah.
The dots keep connecting. Now all we need is for if Big Nick comes out with an Iamaleava shoe line, that's when we'll really know we're in LeVar Ball territory.
Yes. What quarterback in the SEC do y'all think will have the best year? New starter will have the best year.
New starter?
Yes.
I mean, I guess the easy answer would be Arch.
Yeah.
I would love to sit here and confidently say Ty Simpson, but
are we going to call Arch new starter?
I mean, I guess he technically.
All right, let's take Arch off the board. So
wait, okay, so new starter is in
would
they
be new
never
to
started
team.
before or new to team?
I think new to team.
Oh, John Mateer at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
He is excellent.
Yeah, that would have been
I'm
my first.
trying to go down the list too.
Now, if we're talking about people that have just never started a game before, probably throw Ty Simpson out there in that regard.
Johnny says, I didn't know LeVar Ball had lost his leg until last week, diabetes related.
Yeah, he had a really bad health problem, yeah.
Drake says, better two-way player, Charles Woodson or Travis Hunter? It's Travis Hunter.
Really? You would say that over Charles Woodson?
Yes.
Okay.
And I saw Charles Woodson play.
Well, see, and that was my thing, because I remember the latter parts of his career, but I didn't see him in college.
No, Charles Woodson was dynamic on both sides of the ball, but Travis Hunter to me is better.
Okay, yeah, no, I trust your judgment on that one.
Yeah.
I guess he's saying, somebody is saying that my Freeze, I don't have a Hugh Freeze impersonation.
You got to workshop that one.
But he says that would be money for at least another season. Maybe so. Let's hear Landrum give Chapel Bill's social taco order.
Oh yeah, what
would Chapel Bill order?
What would Jordan order for Chapel Bill? I think that's
even
the right
better question.
That's the right question.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And you think she cuts up his meat for him?
Oh, well, he has soft teeth.
Yeah.
Do you think that he would Bill go for the buffalo chicken Mexican pizza? That's
Billy.
all the
Billy,
there?
remember what your gastroenterologist? Remember what he said?
Oh.
Chew it 5 times. Chew it. No, I think you've had enough. No. We will take this T-bone and maybe you can have it for breakfast. I'll make you some eggs when I get up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I mean, you can't tell me that there hasn't been at some point where he had to go for some sort of medical checkup or exam and she went with him and the doctor didn't say, oh, well, it's really nice that your daughter came here to drive you home. Like, you can't tell me that hasn't happened. At least once.
Oh. Corey chiming in and saying Andy Kennedy needs consistent shooting and consistent defense if UAB wants to beat Memphis and dominate the non-conference and compete for a national championship. Andy Kennedy is building a juggernaut of a roster. I totally agree.
And going along with that, I mean, you look at Memphis and P.J. Haggerty's gone. That was their best player. The Dane Danger situation's kind of weird right now with whether he's going to leave or not, but Memphis is going to look a lot different next year too.
Yeah, for sure. Somebody asking if Molly gave up on her beard.
Yeah, I remember I had to shave it for the wedding.
Well, I don't even see stubble.
It takes a while for it to grow back.
I don't even see stubble.
I'm blonde. I have blonde hair, so it takes a while. Very thin.
We're going to get you some of that Ryan Day beard dye.
Yeah.
That's a very good idea.
Even though he supposedly doesn't do that according to his wife. I don't believe it, but
yeah, I don't either.
She said that he does not do it.
Yeah, his wife came out and said that was ridiculous and we need to stop making jokes about it because he doesn't do it. I mean, he definitely does.
Well, there's no way that we can prove that he does it.
What gets out? What gets out like the hair coloring? What if you just put a bunch of You know, what if he gets, doused in a Gatorade bath one day and it just all starts streaming down his face?
Like mascara?
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that how that works?
Yeah, that's exactly how it works. Rudy Giuliani, if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that, where the hair dye started rolling down?
Yeah, the sweat got him.
Yeah, the sweat got him, started to roll that. It was like, wow.
I remember that.
At first it was, is that a long strand of hair? And then it was, no, that's just for men or
Why
whatever.
do you have motor oil coming out of your pores?
If you have enough money, though, they've got something, right, that doesn't wash out or doesn't run.
I would think so. Are we at a point now, and I just have
It's
no
kind of
idea.
like a spray tan for a beard, but it lasts
Gotta let it
3
sit for a
months.
while, but then, yeah.
So do they have, like, beard toupees?
Ooh. You talking about for the mangy beard, like the patchy beard?
Well, or just like in general, I have some friends, for example, that we're all about 30, and some of them just don't really grow facial hair. Could you go out and get a toupee for your facial hair? I'm sure somewhere out there they have that. Could
Would
be a good
Grant
business.
Nelson be someone that you would approach about that idea?
Grant, we're just gonna need to take a couple samples, and then we are taking this thing to market, baby.
What if he gets to the NBA and he starts looking like one of the Phillies?
Oh no, growing
He
out
just
the hair.
starts growing it out. Looks like he's been at a ZZ Top concert.
No.
You know what he's had to eat for the last 3 days?
When's the last time you showered, Grant?
Do the Phillies not look like?
Yeah, they do. They do.
One of those commercials you see on, or one of the mug shots you see on Busted at your local gas station.
Is that like a thing for them? I just wonder, is that like a clubhouse thing for them where they all decided, hey, let's, look mangy for a couple years?
I guess it is. Because Bryce Harper looks like a Boy Scout compared to some of his teammates.
Well, I was about to say, because for a while he was leading the charge, and now, he looks well kept compared to everyone else.
Just say no, guys.
He does have nice hair.
Yeah, he does. All right, we continue. We're live from Social Taco here in Homewood. Anything you might have missed, and we're continuing to monitor the college basketball transfer portal. Alabama in the works for potentially a transfer from Washington State. They're battling Duke, according to our friends there with recruiting services, and also the college football transfer portal. Just never seems to stop. Three-man front live from Social Taco in Homewood on Jocks 94.5. 149, welcome back in. Three-man front, live from Social Taco in Homewood. We're here on the Taco Terrace. We got some late arrivals, but you can come and join us as well. We're off the air at 2 o'clock, but we'll have friends that are hanging out. And the square here in Homewood, hopefully the rain will hold off. We had a little bit of drizzle. Had some rain overnight, which we needed. But most days it's nice patio weather. You can come and enjoy either outside or inside, up in the terrace, down in the dining room, out on the patio, the half-off happy hour. From 3 to 6, you get half-off appetizers and drinks. Don't forget about brunch on the weekends, the Bottomless Tapas brunch, 10 to 2:30 on Saturday, 10 to 2:30 on Sunday. SocialTaco.bar for more information. Today, Charlie Potter joining us from Bama Online, a part of On 3. And Conrad, looking at the rosters, where they stand right now, notably for football and the lack of movement for Alabama, but also a little bit of talk about Jalen Milroe and where he's projected. And right now, the projection's kind of all over the board.
Yeah, that's one of the more fascinating, and I mean, obviously for us here in Alabama, we're keeping a close eye on it, but I think just when you look at the first round as a whole, one of the more intriguing prospects just in terms of where he's going to go, similar to Shedeur. We all know Cam Ward's going to go number 1, but is Shedeur going to go number 3 to the Giants? And if that happens, are you going to see some of these teams start trading up and going for the Jackson Darts and the Jalen Milroes a little earlier than expected? So, I mean, I agree with a lot of what we heard from Charlie, right? The upside with Jalen Milroe is as high as anybody's. It's just, do you believe that whoever drafts him is going to be able to get that version of Jalen Milroe out of him? Because we've seen it in limited moments, limited games, but as we know in the NFL, if you're taking a first-round draft pick on a quarterback, that guy needs to work for your franchise, or that general manager is probably not going to be there in a couple of years. Same for the head coach. So a little bit of a risk there if you take Jalen Milroe, but we all know in the NFL they love the athleticism, the size, the arm talent, all that stuff he has. It's just got to be more consistent, make better decisions with the
What
football.
are you doing if it's a late round, you need a quarterback? Are you taking Jalen Milroe?
If it late in the first round, is Jackson Dart available or no?
No.
I would be trying to trade up to early in the second round, personally. And if somebody comes up there and grabs him, then so be it. But I just. He strikes me as the kind of guy you have to fall in love with him, right? If you're the Steelers, that's been the popular team. If you absolutely love him, then you're going to take that chance. But I just don't know if that's the kind of guy that you're going to take a gamble on. I view it differently than, we remember the Ravens traded back up to 32, I think, to take Lamar Jackson the year he got drafted. I just don't. I don't know if I see that happening for Milroe, but I could be wrong.
Updating you on the latest On3 transfer portal rankings that are out. Number 1, no surprise, Texas Tech. Texas Tech, Conrad, they decided they're going to spend a lot of money this year.
Yeah, and they just got back yesterday, Micah Hudson, one of their receivers who we had heard. He was one of the guys who had transferred to A&M and had put out this long list of, I want this amount of playing time. I'm going to get to make these decisions about, if I play, if I don't feel healthy, this, that, and the other. And so he now ends up back at Texas Tech. But, yeah, they've done just an incredible job.
25 players out. Their average rating was 62.92. 18 transfers in, average rating 20 points higher.
That'll work.
At 82.56.
You're going to see when the time comes for all these dark horse playoff picks and things like that, I think Texas Tech is going to be a popular one.
Ole Miss comes in number 2, no surprise. 29 transfers in at an average of 76. Transfers out 25, their average 66. So not quite the difference, about half the difference of what we saw from Texas Tech. LSU comes in at number 3, followed by Miami at 4. Oregon is at 5. Auburn comes in at number 6. Transfers in 19, transfers out 22. Average coming in 75, average going out 67.
I think that's interesting, though, because I guess my takeaway from a lot of these numbers that you're giving right now is that a lot of these teams are losing backups, right?
Correct.
You're losing backups and you're bringing in guys that you expect to contribute to your team this year, and that's That's certainly a good place to be.
Others in the top 10 behind Auburn, you got Rutgers at 7. Kentucky is at 8.
Rutgers and Kentucky, top 10.
Right? Virginia Tech comes in at 9. Michigan is at 10, followed by Indiana, Baylor, Missouri at 13. Washington, A&M comes in at 15. SMU 16. Michigan State, South Kakalaki at 18. Ohio State, 6 transfers in, 16 transfers out. But a difference of about 12 points. Average player coming in rated around 80. Average player going out around 68. How they get to that number, I don't know, but I'm trusting.
Yeah, the math. The math
kind of
is
like
mapping.
TurboTax. Just trust them. Meanwhile, Duke, 7 transfers in, 12 transfers out.
Well,
And a
we all know the big
difference
one. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that made a lot. Colorado brought 21 players in. Does that surprise you?
Only 21?
Only 21.
I would have thought it would have been more than that.
And 30 guys left.
Man, that is just they're consistent, at least in terms of turnover year to year. They've been consistent for 3 years now.
How about this number? North Carolina, they come in at number 30. So 27 guys transferring in, 33 transferring out. Their average of their guys coming in, 67.70. Average of their guys going out, 66.30.
Bill's upgrading.
1 point.
He's going to get the most out of those kids.
Yep. Mediocre out, mediocre in. That's going to do it for us. We appreciate Charlie Potter, Sean Fox from down in the boot, all of our friends here at Social Taco, and, of course, all of you, whether you're watching on Jocks TV, if you're watching on Jocks 740 in Montgomery, on the Ump in Huntsville, or wherever your travels take you today. Be careful. Wet roadways. Keep the hands at 3 and 9 now. It's no longer 10 and 2. Just found that out. Paul Feinbaum, the Paul Feinbaum Show, rolls your way next here on your home for fun. Jocks 94.5, JocksFM.com, the Jocks 94.5 app. We'll see you tomorrow.